Chapter 53. That one word infuriated all the Thunder Falcon tribe cultivators. They glared at Chu Kuangren and unleashed their auras. Violent lightning-based Taoist rhymes filled the void as they charged towards Chu Kuangren. At that moment, Elder Ruyan snorted. "Who dares to be so presumptuous?" She took a step forward and unleashed an aura that was close to that of an honorable. The auras from both sides collided, causing the void to tremble. Chu Kuangren was standing right in front of that aura. If it were any other cultivator, they would have collapsed to the ground in fear. However, he stood where he was, calm and unruffled. The wind stirred up by the pressure brushed past his robes and his ink-black hair, adding to his frivolity. At that moment, he looked more like a mad immortal than a banished immortal. Countless female cultivators could not help but be tempted by him. How arrogant! I like it. He even dares to scold the young emperor. What an unrestrained man. Look at that young emperor. He's far less handsome than Brother Chu, and he was the one who provoked him first. He deserves to be scolded. That's right. Since he was provoked, of course he should scold him back. I'm afraid the young emperor will not let this go. Countless female cultivators secretly supported Chu Kuangren. However, they were also worried about Chu Kuangren. After all, Lao was a young emperor. That title represented the most terrifying strength among the younger generation. Seeing the tension between the Black Heaven sect and the Thunder Falcon tribe, the surrounding sage orthodoxies each had their own thoughts and did not stop them. In other words, they could not wait for the two sides to fight. That way, they might be able to reap the benefits. All right, all of you stop. At that moment, the Thunder Falcon tribe's honorable said. It was not that he was afraid of Elder Ruyan. On the contrary, Elder Ruyan was only a late-stage honorable and was no match for him. However, the matter of the secret realm was more important. Moreover, he could sense that there was a terrifying being hidden within the Black Heaven sect's camp. That being was probably much stronger than him. The Thunder Falcon tribe's cultivators snorted and retracted their auras. Lao stared at Chu Kuangren before he let out a ferocious smile and made a throat-slitting gesture. "I'll wait for you in the secret realm." Chu Kuangren curled his lips. "I'm so scared." Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others could not help but chuckle when they saw that. Everyone knew that Chu Kuangren did not take Lao seriously at all. Not far away, the White Lotus Maiden Sage was sizing Chu Kuangren up with an unchanging smile on her face. However, there was a hint of curiosity in her eyes. Beside her, the White Lotus Saint clenched his fists. The flames of jealousy in his eyes were about to spew out. Most of the forces and orthodoxies had arrived. Next, everyone planned to explore the luminous moon hidden realm. Those who were above the Battle Monarch realm were not allowed to enter. Those who were allowed to enter were naturally the geniuses of various sections. The seniors gave some instructions before allowing the geniuses to enter. Swoosh! A streak of blood-colored light turned into a streak of light and charged into the mystic realm first. It was Blood Spirit Child of the Yuxia clan. Fang Tian, Lin Batian, Gu Chang'e and the rest followed closely behind. "Kid, I can't enter this secret realm, so you must be careful." The seventh forefather's voice rang in Chu Kuangren's mind. Chu Kuangren nodded and led his people into the secret realm. The moment he entered the secret realm, Chu Kuangren suddenly felt a surge of spatial energy tugging at his body. Then, his eyes lit up as he arrived at the side of a lake. However, Lan Yu, Nangong Huang, and the others were nowhere to be seen. "We've been separated by that spatial energy." Chu Kuangren frowned and spread his spiritual thoughts outwards. However, he could not find Lan Yu and the others within a 100-kilometer radius. With Lan Yu and the others' strength, they shouldn't have gotten into trouble so easily. "Let's explore this place first," Chu Kuangren said after some thought. The luminous moon hidden realm was much larger than the Yuanling small realm that Chu Kuangren had been to previously. He could not see the end of it at all. Chu Kuangren walked around the secret realm for half a day but did not see any opportunities of fortune. Instead, he realized that the secret realm was extremely dilapidated. In this secret realm, the water was stagnant with no ripples. The trees were all dead and lifeless. Not even a bird or an ant could be seen. It was dead silence between the heavens and the earth. Some places were even filled with gray mist. "I don't like this mist," said Yi Zichen. Chu Kuangren frowned as he looked at the gray mist in front of him. He could feel that the aura was filled with a decaying qi of death. At that moment, a shrill scream was heard from afar. Chu Kuangren's mind moved and he dashed towards the source of the scream. In a mountain range, more than 10 fully armored soldiers were besieging a strange beast that had black fur all over its body. The beast looked a little like a dog. Its eyes were scarlet red, and it exuded a terrifying ferocious qi that sent chills down people's spines. The surrounding soldiers attacked the beast, but the beast's body was impenetrable. Their attacks were futile. On the contrary, the beast's sharp teeth and claws could easily tear through the soldiers' armor and inflict heavy damage on them. "Out of my way!" Chu Kuangren took a step forward and arrived in front of the crowd. With the Kunwu sacred sword in hand, he slashed out fiercely. An incomparably sharp sword qi whizzed out and easily cut the demonic beast in half. "It's Chu Kuangren. We're saved. That's great." As expected of a supreme sky pride, he killed this monster with a single slash. The surrounding soldiers felt like they had just survived a disaster. There was only one type of soldier that entered the Luminous Moon's secret realm, and that was the Royal Azure Dynasty's Imperial Guards that followed Princess Linglong and Guchanga here. Chu Kuangren ignored the Imperial Guards and was instead looking at the beast that he had just killed. The beast had the same aura as the gray mist. It was also rotten and filled with the aura of death. "This aura, what is it?" Chu Kuangren murmured. "It's the aura of death." At that moment, a female voice was heard. A woman in a luxurious robe walked over from afar. The surrounding soldiers immediately bowed and greeted her. "Greetings, Princess." It was Princess Linglong. Although he was a little surprised, Chu Kuangren was more curious about the aura of death that she mentioned. Princess Linglong continued, "This aura of death is very ancient. It can even be traced back to the body of an emperor in the ancient times. It has appeared a few times in the recent past when there were no emperors. This aura of death is very terrifying. It contains the will of death, and any beast that is infected by it will lose its mind. Black fur will also grow on its body. The ancient records call it the Black Death Beast." After Chu Kuangren heard that, he pondered. First of all, why would there be an aura of death in the Luminous Moon's secret realm? The fall of the Luminous Moon Sage is undeniable. According to the ancient records, when the Luminous Moon Sage fell, red rain fell from the sky for a day. There was even the appearance of a heavenly dog eating the moon, causing the heavens and earth to mourn. But why would there be an aura of death in his secret realm? This is indeed puzzling. Princess Linglong also fell into deep thought. "There's no point in thinking too much. Let's continue exploring," Chu Kuangren said. "All right." Princess Linglong nodded. There were too many uncertainties in the strange Luminous Moon's secret realm. Having one more person meant more strength. At that moment, the two of them had a tacit understanding to travel together. "Look over there." At that moment, a soldier cried out in surprise. Not far away, a saber was stabbed into a mountain peak. The saber was engraved with countless mysterious runes, and there was even a picture of a bright moon. The saber was stabbed into the mountain peak, emanating waves of sacred qi. Perhaps it was because of the sacred qi the mountain peak was lush and green, unlike other places that were in ruins. Chapter 54. Sacred Artifact, Bright Moon Blade. Not only that, the bright moon saber still has some sage qi left on it. This means that there are still sage Taoist rhymes left on it. If I can comprehend it, I will benefit a lot. Not bad. Every sage orthodoxy had a few sage artifacts. However, there were very few sage artifacts that still had sage Taoist rhymes. The bright moon saber in front of them was extremely extraordinary, and its value far exceeded that of ordinary sage artifacts. But why would the bright moon saber be stuck here? Princess Linglong was puzzled. She glanced around and saw a huge crack at the foot of the mountain. There were also broken mountains along the way, and there were more or less remnants of saber qi on these marks. It was as if the bright moon saber had flown over, and the saber chi had left a mark on it. Only when its power was exhausted did it stab into the mountain. Could it be that the luminous moon saint was fighting with someone? Then, the bright moon saber was sent flying? Thinking of this, Princess Linglong was shocked. But no matter what, with the saint artifact before him, how could he sit back and do nothing? Chu Kuangren and Princess Linglong looked at each other and immediately attacked. None of them wanted to give it up. I want this saint artifact. Hey women, you change so fast. Let's talk about it after you get it. Chu Kuangren chuckled. His speed was not slow at all. At this moment, a silvery white thunderbolt erupted not far away. It was wrapped in a monstrous Taoist rhyme, and it blasted towards the two of them at an extremely fast speed. Princess Linglong's expression changed, and she quickly retreated. However, Chu Kuangren did not retreat nor evade. Instead, he swung the Descendant Self-Sword in his hand, and the dazzling purple sword ray instantly destroyed the lightning. Not only that, but the sword light also slashed straight at the mountain range that erupted with thunderbolts, directly slashing several mountains into pieces. Princess Linglong could not help but shudder at the terrifying power. What a powerful sword. He didn't even use his full strength at the birthday banquet that day. Princess Linglong's heart was filled with fear. Initially, she thought that even if her strength was not as good as Chu Kuangren's, the difference would not be too big. Now, it seemed like she had been overthinking things. They weren't even on the same level. The mountain exploded and a figure rushed out. He was dressed in a white robe, and his body was surrounded by fine lightning. A domineering aura filled the heavens and earth. It was the young emperor of the Thunder Falcon tribe, Lao. I didn't expect to see you again so soon, bastard. Chu Kuangren smiled faintly and reached out to pull out the full moon blade from the mountain peak. Then, he threw it into his yin and yang ring right in front of Lao. Lao stared at Chu Kuangren as he recalled the power of his opponent's sword ray. He grinned. Very well, it seems that you do have some strength. You're qualified to die in my hands. Where did you get the illusion that you can kill me? Chu Kuangren sneered as sword-based Taoist rhymes emanated from his body. Lao wasn't afraid to fight either. He pushed the thunder Taoist rhyme on his body to the extreme. Dark clouds gathered above his head and thunder rumbled. The power of a phenomenon erupted. Look at the phenomenon of my Taoist body, thunder and lightning. Lao roared. Lightning surrounded his body like a god that controlled thunder and lightning. The majestic pressure of thunder swept in all directions. The might of a young emperor shocked Princess Linglong and the group of soldiers. Isn't it just a phenomenon? You're making it sound like nobody has any. Chu Kuangren's sword-based Taoist rhyme spread, and the sword of the heavens formed above his head, while a 36th tier sword chi green lotus surrounded his feet. The power of the two great transformations erupted. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying power of the transformations collided high up in the sky. The surrounding mountains and rivers shook violently. It was extremely terrifying. Many sky prides who were exploring the secret realm were attracted by it. On an altar surrounded by gray mist, a figure that was bound by countless runic chains suddenly opened his eyes. He stared at the source of the transformations and laughed maniacally. Thunder Taoist physique, exquisite nine heavens sword heart. Haha, these are the best supplements. As long as I can absorb them, I'll be able to recover 1/10,000th of my power and break out of the seal. My efforts, my Holy Spirit's power, my repair of the secret realm, and the addition of the restrictions have not been in vain. Luminous Moon Sage, you can't suppress me anymore. As the transformations collided, Chu Kuangren battled against young Emperor Lao. Chu Kuangren had a supreme Taoist physique. Even if his current cultivation level was only at the nascent soul realm, with the addition of his 3 supreme foundation levels, his transformations were still stronger than Lao's. There was no need for all 3 transformations. Just 2 transformations were enough to suppress Lao's thunder and lightning transformation. A supreme Taoist physique is indeed not to be underestimated, Lao said coldly. Then, He clenched his fist and terrifying lightning leaped between his fingers. With a punch, a bolt of silver lightning exploded. This lightning was even more powerful than before with the help of the transformations. Unfortunately, it was useless. With a wave of the Descendant Self-Sword, the heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique erupted. The violent purple sword ray split the lightning with an unstoppable force. One slash the lightning. This sword ray, the silver lightning, is not enough to handle it. Then have a taste of this. The black water falling lightning. The silver lightning around Lei Ao's body was gradually dyed with a layer of ink. The incomparably black lightning made it even more domineering. With a punch, the black lightning blocked the sword ray. Then, he waved both his fists and the black lightning intertwined to form a horrifying net that covered half of the sky and fell towards Chu Kuangren. Humph! Useless move. Chu Kuangren waved his sword and a violent sword ray poured out. It was an extremely domineering and offensive sword attack. The sword ray tore the black net apart and landed on Lei Ao's body, forcing him to retreat hundreds of feet and crash into a mountain peak. The crowd of Sky Prides who had just arrived saw this scene. They were instantly stunned. A young emperor was sent flying with a single slash. F***ck me. I'll fight whoever dares to tell me that Chu Kuangren is not worthy of being called a young emperor. With this kind of strength, he definitely deserves to be called a young emperor. He's too strong. I'm afraid that sword attack has the power of a battle monarch. Terrifying, truly terrifying. Chu Kuangren's black hair danced in the wind. With the Descendant Self-Sword in his hand, he was in high spirits and shocked the crowd of Sky Prides. What's wrong? Didn't you say you want to kill me? How are you going to fight me with this little bit of strength? Chu Kuangren said indifferently. A pile of rubble exploded and Lei Ao rushed out from it. He stared at Chu Kuangren with uncontrollable anger. Crackle. The power of black lightning surrounded Lei Ao. It was extremely dense and every strand of it had the power to crush mountains and rivers. The lightning gradually condensed into a pair of black lightning wings on his back, which were engraved with a large number of mysterious runes. With a flap of the lightning wings, terrifying lightning energy swept in all directions. Wherever it touched, the ground would explode and dust would fly. Sage technique, wings of black lightning. Chu Kuangren. I'll show you my true strength. Lei Ao flapped his wings and his whole body seemed to have turned into a bolt of lightning. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Chu Kuangren. Die! He waved his fists and countless lightning bolts were sent towards Chu Kuangren. Most of the lightning bolts were blocked by Chu Kuangren, but some of them still managed to enter his body and destroy it. After a series of violent attacks, Lei Ao had vented most of his anger. He then retreated and looked at Chu Kuangren with a sinister smile. Even a battle monarch would undoubtedly die from this round of attacks. Chu Kuangren, your body has been corroded by the black lightning. This black lightning will slowly destroy your internal organs, flesh, and blood. Will it? Why don't I feel anything? At that moment, Chu Kuangren smiled and raised his sword. Chapter 55. The sword ray was still as domineering and unparalleled as ever. Lei Ao's pupils shrank. The black lightning wings on his back flapped and terrifying lightning surged out, blocking the sword ray. He could not believe it. Why was his opponent still so strong? How could his strength not affect Chu Kuangren? What the hell is going on? No matter how hard Lei Ao thought about it, he could not figure out that there was a physique above the supreme Taoist physique called the immortal body. Indeed, Lei Ao's attack was effective on Chu Kuangren. Some of the lightning energy entered his body and caused him some damage. However, the damage was healed by the immortal body in the blink of an eye. Should I say, as expected of a young emperor? Chu Kuangren thought to himself. Ever since he left the mountain, no one had been able to hurt him, not even the battle monarch from the White Cloud City residence. He did not expect Lei Ao to do it. As far as beasts are concerned, you're not bad. Unfortunately, beasts will always be beasts. Chu Kuangren channeled the spiritual power in his body and activated the golden jade body. Sword-based Taoist rhymes surged. Just as he was about to fight Lei Ao again, a gray mist suddenly surged from afar. What's this? Why is there so much mist? The mist surged and everyone quickly retreated. Although they did not know what it was, the sky prides were not willing to touch it. However, countless tentacles suddenly extended from the gray mist and quickly wrapped around a few sky prides, dragging them in. This change made everyone's expression change. What the hell is this? Let's go. The sky prides frantically ran in the opposite direction of the gray mist. Chu Kuangren and Lei Ao also stopped fighting and planned to leave first. However, Chu Kuangren suddenly saw a few people trapped by the tentacles in front of the gray mist, unable to escape. It's Nan Gonghuang and the others. Chu Kuangren frowned. Without hesitation, he appeared in front of them in a flash and slashed with the sacred sword in his hand. The sword ray swept across the sky and cut off all the tentacles. Elder Senior Brother. Great! It's Elder Senior Brother. Nan Gonghuang and the others were delighted. Chu Kuangren said with a serious expression, "Let's go!" Elder Senior Brother, Lan Yu was pulled in just now. Nan Gonghuang suddenly said, causing Chu Kuangren's expression to change drastically. Damn it! The existence within the gray mist was strange and inexplicable. It was unknown whether Lan Yu was dead or alive after being pulled into it. Chu Kuangren's heart was filled with anxiety, but his eyes were extremely cold. You guys can leave first, Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Eldest Senior Brother, do you want to? Murong Xian's expression changed. He wanted to dissuade Chu Kuangren, but Chu Kuangren seemed to have guessed what they were going to say. He shouted coldly, "Leave! Go! Don't drag Eldest Senior Brother down here." Nan Gonghuang gritted his teeth and said. Everyone glanced at Chu Kuangren before they left. Since I have the immortal body, I'd like to see what kind of strange existence lies within this gray mist. Chu Kuangren took a deep breath. Then, his gaze became extremely determined as he dashed into the gray mist in a flash. From afar, Lei Ao saw this scene and snorted coldly. He actually dared to charge into the deathly aura alone. He is simply seeking his own death. In the gray fog, a figure rushed in. It was Chu Kuangren. As soon as he entered, he suddenly felt a strange force being exerted on his body. Under this force, his body felt as if it was placed in a strong acid. His flesh and blood were constantly being corroded and decomposed. The immortal body began to work and quickly repaired his body. Chu Kuangren also activated his spiritual power and covered the surface of his body with a layer of spiritual power, using it to resist this strange corrosive force. This gray mist can corrode living beings. I can't stay here for long. I must quickly find Lan Yu, Chu Kuangren thought to himself. With Lan Yu's strength, she could even survive in this gray mist for a period of time, but it was only for a short period of time. Spreading his spiritual thought, Chu Kuangren continuously searched for traces of Lan Yu. Suddenly, his spiritual thought touched a barrier and was bounced back. His eyes narrowed, and he raised his hand and slashed out with his sword. The domineering purple sword ray landed on the barrier and exploded with a loud bang. However, Chu Kuangren sensed that the barrier was undamaged. There's a barrier here. Could it be that it's deliberately trapping us in the gray mist? Chu Kuangren thought to himself. At that moment, the sound of fighting and strange roars could be heard from afar. Chu Kuangren dashed towards the source of the sound and saw a few beasts with strange tentacles surrounding a woman. It's her, Princess Linglong. Chu Kuangren was shocked. He did not expect her to be dragged into this strange gray mist. Those tentacle beasts were terrifying. Each of them had the cultivation level of a battle monarch. Princess Linglong could not fight them and could only dodge in panic. Chu Kuangren, save me. Princess Linglong was overjoyed when she saw Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren, however, turned around and left without hesitation. What a joke, he still wanted to find Lan Yu. The longer he stayed in this place, the more danger Lan Yu would be in. Compared to Lan Yu, Princess Linglong was worthless to him. Seeing Chu Kuangren turn around and leave, Princess Linglong panicked and shouted again. I know what's going on with this gray mist. Save me. Hearing that, Chu Kuangren stopped in his tracks. He did not know how big this gray mist was, so it would not be efficient to search for Lan Yu aimlessly. If he could figure out the source of this gray mist, it might be of help to him. Thinking of this, Chu Kuangren did not hesitate and attacked. With a slash of the sacred sword, a domineering purple sword ray whizzed out, and in the blink of an eye, a tentacle of a beast was cut off. A shrill cry like that of a baby came out from the mouth of the strange beast. Then, the beast locked onto Chu Kuangren, its scarlet eyes filled with cruelty. Countless tentacles danced towards Chu Kuangren. Is this the existence hidden in this gray mist? This cultivation level is not low. Chu Kuangren activated his Eye of Revelation. Streams of information flashed past his eyes at a crazy rate. This beast was also a Black Death beast. Mutated Black Death beast, peak battle monarch realm cultivation level, formed from the Black Light Sage's death chi, specially used to capture living beings for him. Black Light Sage? Who was this? Chu Kuangren caught the key information and temporarily suppressed his doubts. He said to Princess Linglong, "Retreat behind me." Princess Linglong did not suspect anything and quickly hid behind Chu Kuangren. "I can't be bothered to play with you guys." Chu Kuangren took out a jade bottle from his yin and yang ring and smashed it. A formless dust spread out, and Chu Kuangren used his spiritual power to wrap the dust and hit the surrounding Black Death beasts. When the dust came into contact with the Black Death beasts, they instantly let out an incomparably shrill scream as their bodies began to melt into a puddle of blood. After 2 to 3 breaths, the Black Death beasts had all turned into a puddle of blood mixed with their internal organs, emitting a disgusting stench. Princess Linglong's heart trembled. Tridark Cleansing Ruler's Dust. She had read about this item in the ancient records, but she had never seen it with her own eyes. This terrifying power made her heart palpitate. These were all peak battle monarch realm Black Death beasts, yet they turned into puddles of blood in such a short time. Chapter 56. Don't worry, I'm not lying to you. Princess Linglong's heart skipped a beat when she saw Chu Kuangren's cold stare. She was one of the most talented women in the world, and she was also the princess of the royal Azure dynasty. How could Chu Kuangren be so easily defeated? Princess Linglong could not figure it out. She continued, "This gray mist is special. It's formed by the condensation of the chi of death, and there's a barrier around it. I've seen this in the records of the chi of death. I'm afraid this is a domain." Domain? Go on. According to the records, over 10,000 years ago, this gray fog appeared once. At that time, the gray fog enveloped an entire city. Later on, someone went to investigate and found that there were only a few survivors left in the city. The rest had all been corroded and decomposed. Princess Linglong did not continue after that. Chu Kuangren frowned. "That's it? That's all the records say. Domain. The Battle Monarch realm cultivators can create their own domains, and some cultivators have specialized techniques to cultivate their domains. As their cultivation level increases, their domains will also change. Could this gray mist be a man-made domain?" Chu Kuangren pondered and combined the information he received from the Eye of Revelation. His gaze gradually became extremely cold. Black Light Sage. The Black Death beast was raised by the Black Light Sage, and this domain is most likely man-made. Perhaps he's the one behind all this. But he's a sage. If he really wanted to kill us, he could just kill us with a finger. Why would he go through all this trouble? The domain, the Black Death beast, and even this mystic realm was created by him. This means he has some kind of limitation. Chu Kuangren's mind was filled with all sorts of thoughts. No matter what, the Black Light Sage was the source of all problems. To solve this gray mist, he had to be found first. I'll look for Lan Yu while looking for this person. If this domain is really made by him, then he must be inside it too. Chu Kuangren had an idea and left the place. Princess Linglong followed. She had to admit that being by Chu Kuangren's side gave her the most sense of security at times like this. Along the way, the two met another sky pride. It was Huayun from the sacred lands of serene wisdom. However, it was obvious that he was severely injured at this time, and there was not much spiritual power left in him. Without the protection of spiritual power, his body was rapidly being corroded and decomposed. When he saw Chu Kuangren and his companion, he immediately called for help. "Brother Chu, princess, please save me." Princess Linglong glanced at Chu Kuangren. It was obvious that Chu Kuangren was her priority now. Chu Kuangren turned a deaf ear as he watched Hua Yun being corroded and decomposed. Suddenly, an idea popped into his mind. The gray fog was corroding and decomposing human flesh. What would happen after the corrosion? This black light sage had gone through so much trouble to bring them into this domain. Was it purely to kill them? At that thought, Chu Kuangren continued to observe Hua Yun. His gaze was as cold as ice, and he had no intention of helping him. Hua Yun's heart shook and he quickly said, "Brother Chu, what happened at the banquet was my fault. Please save me." However, Chu Kuangren continued to ignore him. "Princess Linglong, quick, save me." Seeing that Chu Kuangren was unmoved, Hua Yun turned his attention to Princess Linglong. Princess Linglong was a little hesitant. "Chu Kuangren, one more person means one more force in this place. Why don't—" "Shut up." Chu Kuangren glared at Princess Linglong. Princess Linglong felt as if she was being strangled, choking on her words. One more person means one more force? What a joke. Someone like him is considered a force? He's just a burden. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. "Chu Kuangren, you're so cruel." Seeing that there was no hope of saving him, Hua Yun's eyes were filled with hatred. "Just because I mocked you at the banquet, you're going to leave me in the lurch. You're not worthy of being called a sky pride. You're not worthy of being called a human. I curse you to suffer the same fate as me, to die a horrible death." Hua Yun cursed hoarsely. However, Chu Kuangren's gaze did not change at all. Hua Yun's curses did not affect Chu Kuangren at all. He just quietly watched as Hua Yun disintegrated into nothingness. Beside him, Princess Linglong could not help but shiver. At the moment when Hua Yun was completely corroded, a blood-colored ray of light appeared and dashed towards a certain direction. Something's up. Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up as he followed closely behind the blood-colored ray of light. Princess Linglong followed suit as well. At that moment, she finally understood why Chu Kuangren would coldly watch Hua Yun disintegrate. She could not help but sigh in her heart. However, to coldly watch a person disintegrate just to prove his hypothesis. This man was indeed cold-hearted. Chu Kuangren followed the blood-colored ray of light and arrived at the depths of the gray mist. From afar, they could see an altar with an old man bound by runic chains on it. The blood-colored ray of light came to the altar and entered the old man's mouth and nose. "Comfortable, this is the taste of a sky pride." The old man's face was filled with joy. Princess Linglong, who was following closely behind, was shocked when she saw this. This old man is feeding on sky prides. Chu Kuangren took out the descendant self-sword and walked towards the old man. At the same time, a large number of runes circulated in his eyes as he analyzed the old man's information. Black Light Sage, one of the protectors of the sacred palace of death. His cultivation level is at the peak of the Great Sage realm. He's currently in an incomplete state and he's cultivating a sage technique. His opponent was a sage. With Chu Kuangren's current cultivation level, he could not see through him as clearly as he could with the Eye of Revelation. However, he did obtain a lot of useful information. For example, the Sacred Palace of Death. It was an unfamiliar force. Chu Kuangren made a mental note of it. Bang, bang at that moment, a few runic chains on the altar shattered, absorbing the essence of a sky pride's flesh and blood to break through the seal. Your sage technique, gluttonous devouring technique, is quite extraordinary. Chu Kuangren said calmly. On the altar, the black light sage's eyes narrowed. Little fella, who are you? How do you know my technique? However, Chu Kuangren suddenly made his move the moment he spoke. The heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique was instantly activated. The domineering purple sword ray swept towards the black light sage's head. His eyes narrowed as he let out a long roar. A horrifying aura of death gushed out from his mouth and forcefully blocked the purple sword ray. Ha! What a decisive sky pride! First, you revealed my technique and attacked me while I was distracted. If you were a little stronger, or if I was a little weaker, you might have succeeded. What a shame, what a shame! The Black Light Sage laughed with a look of admiration in his eyes. Without saying a word, Chu Kuangren activated his 3 Taoist physique transformations and once again performed the heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique, intending to kill the Black Light Sage in one fell swoop. However, a terrifying surge of sage Taoist rhyme burst out from the Black Light Sage's body, forming a chi barrier that blocked all the attacks. A sage is a sage. Even if he's broken and sealed, he's still not that easy to kill, Chu Kuangren murmured. Chapter 57. Human Mountain Stamp. Heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique. Within the gray mist, horrifying explosions continued to resound. Chu Kuangren continued to attack, intending to kill the Black Light Sage. However, it was not that easy to kill a sage. The sage had formed a chi barrier around him, and no matter how Chu Kuangren attacked, it was futile. Moreover, this was the sage's incomplete power. It might not even be 1 in 10,000. One could only imagine how terrifying this sage was at his peak. Little brat, what you're doing is useless. Your strength is still too weak. You can't even touch me, let alone kill me. Just find a place and wait for your death. You have a supreme Taoist physique, so your flesh and blood essence is a great supplement to me. The Black Light Sage stared at Chu Kuangren with a strong desire. It was like a hungry ghost looking at a banquet. Chu Kuangren stopped his attack and said coldly, "You're the one who reappeared the luminous moon's secret realm? It's all for the sake of luring us here and turning us into your food to recover our strength and break the seal." "That's right, but it's too late now. Within my domain, none of you can escape and you can't kill me." The Black Light Sage smiled proudly. At that moment, another blood-colored ray of light came from afar and entered the Black Light Sage's body. His aura grew stronger by several notches. TSK. The taste of a sky pride is wonderful. The Black Light Sage had a joyful expression on his face. "I've spent a lot of time to add restrictions to this luminous moon's secret realm, only allowing cultivators below the Battle Monarch realm to enter. This is a sage's secret realm, so the orthodoxies outside will definitely not let their sky prides enter. Little do they know they're just sending me food. At this moment, no one can save you in this secret realm. Once my strength recovers, I'll expand my domain. By then, none of the sky prides in this secret realm will be able to escape." Haha! The Black Light Sage laughed out loud, his eyes filled with pride. He was not worried that revealing his plan would fail. He had planned for so long, and now that everything was under his control, so what if he revealed everything? No one could do anything to him. "Luminous Moon Sage, I came to invite you to join the Sage Palace out of kindness, but you didn't appreciate it and even tried to suppress me. Now, even though I'm sealed, you've died from my injuries. Now I'm about to break the seal. I've won." The Black Light Sage laughed heartily. After 10,000 years, the battle between him and the Luminous Moon Sage was finally coming to an end. Chu Kuangren retracted his transformation and left. "He's leaving just like that?" Princess Linglong was puzzled. "Not leaving? Do you want me to stay here and listen to him show off?" Chu Kuangren said coldly and left without looking back. "Leave? Where do you think you can go?" "In my domain, aside from waiting for your deaths, where else can you go?" Looking at Chu Kuangren and his companion's departing silhouette, the Black Light Sage said in disdain. After leaving the sealed area, Chu Kuangren found a cave within the gray mist. He walked in and took out a large pile of treasures. These were all obtained from Yuan Ling's treasury. Every single item was worth a fortune. "What are you going to do?" Princess Linglong asked, puzzled. "Seclusion, breakthrough, and then kill a sage," Chu Kuangren said coldly. However, there was a rare sense of urgency in his eyes. Princess Linglong understood his urgency. "If you go into seclusion, no matter how talented you are, it will take a few days. In these few days, The sky prides that entered the gray mist will all be dead. The sage's strength will increase again. At that time, even if you break through to the insightful void realm, will you still be able to deal with him? Princess Linglong was met with silence after she finished speaking. Indeed, Chu Kuangren knew what she said made sense. Moreover, Lan Yu's life was uncertain now. Whether he could calm down and go into seclusion was also unknown. I have an idea, Princess Linglong suddenly said. What idea? Godly essence. Say that again? Chu Kuangren was stunned. I'll give you the godly essence. You can use its power to break through in a short period of time. Princess Linglong said indifferently, as if she was not talking about her innocence. Are you serious? Chu Kuangren's gaze froze. What do you think? Princess Linglong took a deep breath and slowly took off her robe, revealing her snow-white body. One had to admit that Princess Linglong was very beautiful. Her figure was also extremely good. Chu Kuangren looked at her and was momentarily dazed, but he quickly looked away. I don't need this kind of method to break through. Princess Linglong saw his dazed look. Even if it was only for a moment, she did not know why, but she was a little excited. It turned out that she was not completely unattracted to him. You have no other choice. Princess Linglong slowly walked up and hugged Chu Kuangren, whispering into his ear. Then, without waiting for Chu Kuangren to make a move, she took the initiative to undress him. Those who did not know would think that Chu Kuangren was the one at a disadvantage. Chu Kuangren, don't tell me you can't do it? Princess Linglong saw that Chu Kuangren was frozen on the spot and could not help but say, You forced me to do this. At that point, Chu Kuangren also made his move. He turned the tables and pressed Princess Linglong onto the ground. In an instant, the cave was filled with life. Not long after, mysterious Taoist patterns flowed between the two of them, forming a white ball of light that enveloped both of them. The ball of light moved up and down, and a faint sorrowful sound could be heard. Chu Kuangren felt like he was wrapped in a hot spring. A mysterious Taoist rhyme surged into his heart, and an incomparably pure energy entered his body. It exploded in his spiritual mound and swept through his limbs and bones. The Taoist foundation, golden core, and nascent soul within his body were all excited. A large amount of spiritual power gathered in his spiritual mound and gradually turned into 9 purple pillars with mysterious Taoist runes engraved on them. With the 9 spiritual pillars as the foundation, a gorgeous Taoist palace gradually formed. This was the Purple Palace Realm. The Purple Palace Realm foundation represented the Paradise Realm. The 9 spiritual pillars represented the supreme 9th grade Purple Palace Realm. Just when Chu Kuangren successfully formed the 9th grade Purple Palace Realm, a terrifying phenomenon appeared in the outside world. Taoist rhymes reverberated between heaven and earth. Spiritual chi surged, and a purple light bloomed in the gray mist. An incomparably glorious Purple Palace Realm appeared. The sealed black light sage noticed it immediately, and his expression suddenly changed. Supreme Foundation, 9th grade Purple Palace Realm. The higher the Supreme Foundation Realm, the harder it was to form. A 9-colored nascent soul was already rare in the world. A 9th grade Purple Palace Realm was also rare in the past 100,000 years. Who is it? Who could have formed such a foundation realm? Could it be? The black light sage thought of Chu Kuangren. In the entire domain, only Chu Kuangren was a complete nascent soul cultivator, and only he could form such a supreme foundation realm. But to break through the Paradise Realm and form the supreme Purple Palace Realm in such a short period of time, how did he do it? The black light sage's expression was terrifyingly gloomy. There was a variable in his plan. Chapter 58. A peerless 9th grade violet palace formed, and a strange phenomenon appeared in heaven and earth. The sound of the Tao reverberated, and the Tao rhymes spread in all directions. Even the black light sage's domain could not isolate this surge of Taoist rhyme. After all, he was currently in an incomplete state. Taoist rhymes filled the air, affecting the entire mystic realm. Many geniuses noticed it. They all looked at the gray fog and saw a faint purple light flowing in it. A towering and somewhat illusory Taoist palace appeared. The Taoist palace was incomparably gorgeous, and it contained 9 spiritual pillars. When the crowd saw this, they thought of something. That's the Violet Palace? 1, 2, 3. His 9 spirit pillars. It was a 9th grade Violet Palace. How is this possible? There's actually someone who can condense such a foundation. Who is it that can do such a thing in the gray fog? Wait a minute. Rumor has it that eldest brother Dark Heaven once formed 3 supreme foundations all by himself. Could it be him? If that's true, then it's terrifying. On a certain mountain peak, Lao stared at the direction of the gray mist with a grave expression. 9th grade Purple Palace Realm. Who is that? Could it really be that Chu Kuangren? Thinking of this, Lao's heart sank. Even before Chu Kuangren attained the Paradise Realm, he had already exerted a tremendous amount of pressure on him. If Chu Kuangren were to attain the Paradise Realm and condense the 9th grade Purple Palace, Lao did not dare to think any further. Now, he could only hope that the being in the gray mist could kill Chu Kuangren. That way, he would not have another opponent like Chu Kuangren. In another place, Gu Chang'e stared at the gray fog. It's him, it must be him. There aren't many nascent soul realm cultivators that entered the secret territory. He is definitely the most outstanding one. If anyone can condense a 9th rank purple mansion, it must be him. It's not enough for this guy to condense 3 supreme foundations in a row. Now he's also condensing a supreme violet palace. Heavenly Tao, you're unfair. Gu Chang'e had a feeling that Chu Kuangren would be the one to condense the 9th grade supreme purple palace. This made him so angry that he could barely breathe. Previously, his 3 supreme foundations were already enough to crush him. What about now? He was probably nothing in front of the other party. Haha, a 9th grade Violet Palace Realm. It must be eldest senior brother. Apart from eldest senior brother, who else has this kind of ability? He was different from Lao, Gu Chang'e, and the rest. Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the rest were filled with excitement. Supreme Taoist Foundation, Supreme Golden Core, Supreme Nascent Soul, and now Supreme Violet Kingdom. Eldest senior brother is mighty. This era only has one name, and that name is Chu Kuangren, within the domain of gray fog. Chu Kuangren used the godly essence to condense a 9th grade purple palace, but that was not all. The effects of the godly essence allowed him and Princess Linglong to enter a state of Taoist enlightenment, to comprehend the mysterious Taoist Tao. Everything he had learned in the past was now organized. The human mountain stamp, ultimate heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique, heavenly purple myrtle sword art, and other techniques were carefully sorted out in the state of enlightenment. Find the loopholes and fill in the gaps. This was especially true for the heavenly amethyst sword art. Chu Kuangren had forcefully elevated this sage technique to the level of a great sage technique. All sorts of profound mysteries were indescribably wonderful. Apart from that, their cultivation levels were also increasing rapidly. Insightful void early stage, insightful void middle stage, insightful void late stage. Suddenly, Chu Kuangren opened his eyes. Inside the cave, the white orb of light shattered. Chu Kuangren stood up naked, took out a white Taoist robe, and put it on. Wait here. I'm going to slay a sage, Chu Kuangren said calmly. Princess Linglong stretched her body and nodded with a blushing face. Swoosh! Chu Kuangren disappeared from where he was, and when he reappeared, he was already at the altar. A terrifying surge of sword-based Taoist rhyme gushed out. The Black Light Sage had long guessed that Chu Kuangren would come, so he was not surprised. He only said in surprise, I can't believe you could break through to the Paradise Realm in such a short time and condense a supreme purple palace. Before he could finish his sentence, a sword ray greeted him, an unparalleled attack, dazzling purple sword ray. The Black Light Sage opened his mouth and let out a roar, and a large amount of death chi gushed out. When the two forces collided, the horrifying shockwave shook the entire domain space. It was incomparably terrifying. The Sky Prides who were sucked into the gray fog domain were all shocked. What's going on? Don't tell me there's another unforeseen event. Amidst the gray fog, A silhouette in a gorgeous silver armor dashed towards the source of the shockwave. That person was Lan Yu. That 9th grade Purple Palace disciple just now must be Master. No, I need to get to Master's side as soon as possible. Lan Yu thought to himself. What a powerful sword ray. You've just broken through to the Paradise Realm, yet you can already unleash such combat strength. You're indeed extraordinary. Consuming one of you is equivalent to consuming dozens of sky prides. The Black Light Sage looked at Chu Kuangren greedily. Chu Kuangren, on the other hand, noticed that his opponent's strength was slightly stronger than before. It was obvious that he had consumed a few more sky prides. The runic chains on the altar had decreased by a few more. I must not let this person break out of the seal. Chu Kuangren focused his gaze and activated all 3 supreme Taoist physique transformations. The Sword of the Heavens, the 9 Heaven Sword Domain, and the Green Lotus Sword Song. With the 3 transformations surrounding him, Chu Kuangren's sword-based Taoist rhyme had reached its peak. Not only that, but the 4 supreme foundation levels within his body also radiated with a supreme divine light, and the surface of his body became crystal clear like golden jade. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Within his body, spiritual power surged like a tsunami. Just when Chu Kuangren was about to unleash his sword, a hint of surprise flashed across his eyes. Then, he swung the sacred sword down as if nothing had happened. Heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique. The terrifying purple sword ray almost covered the entire sky. The sword ray landed and locked onto the Black Light Sage. Under this attack, cracks finally appeared on the deathly chi barrier that surrounded the Black Light Sage. Boom, boom. The cracks widened, and it finally exploded. The sword ray ruthlessly slashed onto the Black Light Sage's physical body, but the old body suddenly burst into light and blocked the sword ray. Ha ha! Although my strength is less than 1/10,000th, this sage's body of mine is truly formed from the condensation of peerless Taoist patterns. Do you think your sword can hurt me? The Black Light Sage laughed. This was why he was so fearless. How could an ordinary cultivator destroy a sage's body? I still have a saber here, Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Then, a long saber appeared in his hand and he threw it out. The long saber was as fast as a meteor, piercing through the void. That's the full moon saber. Not good. The Black Light Sage's pupils shrank, and his expression changed drastically. Just when he was about to do something, Chu Kuangren was one step ahead of him. Majestic earth chi emerged and turned into a godly mountain. Under the pressure of the godly mountain, the Black Light Sage's movements were a step slower. The full moon saber let out a dazzling brilliance, and in a trance, a white-robed figure holding a saber appeared. It was a handsome, middle-aged man. The Black Light Sage looked as if he had seen a ghost when he saw this man. Luminous Moon Sage. How is this possible? Everything happened in a split second. The Luminous Moon Sage wielded the full moon saber and unleashed his sage Taoist rhymes, tearing apart the Black Light Sage's body and decapitating him. At that moment, an illusory figure separated from the Black Light Sage's body and dashed away in a frenzy. Chapter 59. Humph, trying to escape? No way. Chu Kuangren had long prepared for the Black Light Sage's sage spirit to escape. Activating the 9 Heaven Sword Prison, the 12 sword chi pillars sealed the sky and ground. Without a sage's body, the sage spirit was like a rootless duckweed. Moreover, the Black Light Sage had spent a lot of his sage power to repair the secret realm and add more restrictions. His sage spirit was even more exhausted than his cultivation base. There was no way out of the 9 Heaven Sword Prison. Die! It was a pity that he could not capture a sage spirit. However, Chu Kuangren could not care less. Activating the Descendant Self-Sword, a terrifying sword ray shot out and locked onto the sage spirit. Amidst a mournful scream, the sacred spirit was annihilated. A sage had fallen. At that moment, the entire secret realm shook violently. The gray mist domain lost its master and began to collapse. Between the heavens and the earth, a torrential rain fell, and countless beasts and birds let out shrill cries of grief. A sage had fallen, The sky was raining red, and all creatures were crying in grief. Outside the secret realm, the sky rumbled, and a rain of red rain fell. The northern sea water roared and the wind howled. Whether it was beasts or birds, as long as they were not sentient, they all let out cries of grief. The sudden phenomenon shocked everyone. This is a phenomenon that only occurs when a sage has fallen. Who is it that has fallen? Oh my God! It's been a long time since I've seen a sage fall. What's going on? Why would a sage suddenly fall? Could it be that one of the sages has reached the end of their lifespan? Elder Ruyan, the Thunder Falcon tribe, and the other orthodoxies honorables were all shocked. They contacted their orthodoxies and asked about something. After a series of questions, everyone was confused. They didn't receive any grievous news. So who was the cause of this red rain and the mournful wailing of thousands of spirits? Could something have happened to the secret realm? Impossible. According to the records, the luminous moon sage has fallen long ago. Unless there's a second sage in this secret realm. Is that possible? Everyone was confused. Meanwhile, inside the luminous moon's secret realm, the gray mist domain collapsed, and everyone saw Chu Kuangren standing proudly in the air with the luminous moon sage beside him. Some people recognized the luminous moon sage. Look, that's the luminous moon sage. Isn't he dead? What the hell is going on? The saber in his hand is indeed the bright moon saber, the sacred weapon of the bright moon sage. However, he died 10,000 years ago. Why is Chu Kuangren there too? Everyone was surprised and bewildered. Meanwhile, Chu Kuangren stared at the luminous moon sage with a hint of wariness in his eyes. He said, "Senior, can you give me an explanation?" Just now, when he was fighting with the Black Light Saint, the bright moon saber in his interspatial ring made a strange noise. The voice of the bright moon saint appeared, telling him to throw the saber at the Black Light Saint and prevent the Holy Spirit from escaping. The luminous moon sage smiled faintly. There is no need to be so wary of the future heaven's favorites. I am already dead. There is no doubt about it. What's in front of you now is just a remnant of my spirit. There's no need for you to do anything. It will dissipate on its own in a while. This remnant of my spirit has been residing in the full moon blade for many years, all for the sake of having a chance to slay the Black Light Saint. It's all thanks to your assistance today. After that, the luminous moon sage bowed towards Chu Kuangren. This scene caused everyone to be shocked. A dignified sage bowed to a junior. Chu Kuangren stood where he was and accepted it calmly. He then looked at the Black Light Saint's corpse on the altar. I want that corpse. Senior, you don't have any objections, do you? The luminous moon sage smiled faintly. Of course. It's all thanks to your assistance in slaying the Black Light Saint. I destroyed the physical body, and you killed the Holy Spirit. Of course, you have the right to dispose of this corpse. Some of the Sky Prides who arrived at the scene were dumbfounded. What did they just hear? Chu Kuangren and the luminous moon sage joined forces to slay a sage. Was this for real? One of the Sky Prides gulped. Red rain falls from the sky, thousands of souls mourn, and the phenomenon of a fallen sage. How can this be fake? How can this Chu Kuangren be so terrifying? Didn't he kill an honorable supreme before? How can he kill another sage now? Is he going to proclaim himself an emperor next? I can't believe such a monster has appeared in this era of great battles. The crowd of Sky Prides was extremely shocked. Looking at the peerless white-robed figure in the sky, they could not bring themselves to compete with him. How could they compete? How could a firefly be compared to the bright moon? I'm afraid it's impossible for me to surpass him in this lifetime. The Sky Pride Fangtian murmured with a bitter expression. Beside him, Lin Batian sighed helplessly and lamented. Living in the same era as him, it's really sad. The crowd of Sky Prides could not help but lament. At that moment, there was only one thought in their minds. What era of great battles? It was all **T. With Chu Kuangren standing there, what was there for the others to compete for? If they wanted to compete, they should be the ones fighting. Chu Kuangren was not even in the same world as them. Farewell, future Sky Prides. The remnant spirit of the luminous moon sage gradually dissipated. Farewell, Senior. Chu Kuangren bowed slightly. If it were not for the luminous moon sage, he might not have been able to kill the black light sage. Hence, he was very grateful to the luminous moon sage. It's a shame that I can't witness this era of great battles with my own eyes. A hint of regret flashed across the luminous moon sage's eyes. Chu Kuangren's heart skipped a beat. How did the luminous moon sage know that this was an era of great battles? Before Chu Kuangren could ask any more questions, the luminous moon sage turned around and looked at the black light sage's corpse on the altar. He laughed heartily. Brother Black Light, although it's been 10,000 years, I've still won this battle in the end. His laughter gradually disappeared along with the remnant spirit. Chu Kuangren held the full moon blade in his hand. There were still some remnants of sage Taoist rhymes on it. Although it was not as rich as before, it would still be of great help to an honorable if he were to properly understand it. After all, this was the Tao of a sage. After keeping the blade, Chu Kuangren dashed towards the altar. Looking at the black light sage's corpse before him, a smile appeared on his face. The sage chi, sage Taoist rhymes, and sage weapons were all rare treasures, not to mention a freshly dead sage's corpse. Whether it was used to understand the Tao, refine weapons, or refine puppets, the sage's corpse was an excellent material. The value of this corpse was worth 10 sage weapons. Chu Kuangren kept the corpse into his yin and yang ring. Master! A surprised voice was heard. Chu Kuangren turned around and saw Lan Yu flapping her wings and flying towards him. His face immediately lit up with joy. Lan Yu, are you all right? I'm fine. How are you, Master? I'm fine. After asking around, Chu Kuangren found out that although Lan Yu had encountered a few black death beasts after entering the Grey Mist domain, she was ultimately safe. Oh, sorry to disturb the both of you. Princess Linglong suddenly walked over. Upon seeing her, Chu Kuangren's expression froze. Lan Yu, on the other hand, frowned, feeling that this woman in front of them was a little strange. Her tone just now seemed a little jealous. Was it an illusion? You're here. Chu Kuangren took a deep breath and looked at her with a complicated gaze. You don't have to say anything. It was all for my own survival, and I was the one who initiated it, Princess Linglong said calmly. It was obvious that she was very open about this matter. But no matter what, I should have contributed to you killing a sage. I want the full moon blade and half of the sage's corpse. Princess Linglong said. Sure. Chu Kuangren nodded. He took out the full moon blade and the black light sage's corpse. Princess Linglong took the blade and wanted to chop off half of the sage's corpse, but she realized that the sage's body was indestructible. Helpless, she could only take away the luminous moon sage's head. The head was the head of the 6 yang energies, where the soul was stored. It was worth the remaining half of the corpse. Goodbye. Princess Linglong took the items and left gracefully. Chu Kuangren stood there and frowned. Chapter 60. Master, what happened between you and the princess? Lan Yu asked in confusion. Sigh, it's all bad luck. Chu Kuangren sighed. Lan Yu was even more confused. Her sapphire blue eyes stared unblinkingly at Chu Kuangren, waiting for him to explain. Nothing much. Let's go find Nan Gonghuang and the others first. All right then. Lan Yu nodded. Although she was a little concerned, she would not pursue the matter if Chu Kuangren did not say anything. The two of them packed their things and left. On top of a mountain peak, a group of sky prides was gathered together. In the middle of them was a Taoist hall. In the middle of the hall sat a middle-aged man in a white robe with skin as white as jade. However, this person did not seem to be angry at all. He was like a statue. If Chu Kuangren was here, he would recognize that it was the luminous moon sage. To be precise, it was the corpse of the luminous moon sage. The corpse's white robe was stained with blood, as if it had just gone through a great battle. It returned to the Taoist hall, laid down a restriction, and then passed away. The luminous moon sage has been dead for 10,000 years, but his corpse is still immortal. A sage is indeed mysterious. I wonder who it was that managed to kill the luminous moon saint. Could it be that strange existence in the gray fog? Although this sage has been dead for 10,000 years and his Taoist rhymes are not as abundant as when he just died, there is still some sage qi left in his body. If used well, it would be of great use to an honorable. That's right. But let's open the restriction first. There was a layer of restriction around the Taoist hall. It was a restriction set by a sage. Originally, even an honorable would not be able to break it. However, with the passage of time and the erosion of the death qi, there was only a thin layer left of the restriction, giving everyone a chance. Everyone, what do you think? At that moment, young Emperor Lei Ao spoke. Around him, the White Lotus Maiden Sage, Bachelor Sage, Guchanga, Dharma Sect Yuan Hong, and the other Sky Prides looked at each other without saying a word. Lei Ao continued. What? Do you plan to leave empty-handed after seeing the sage's body in front of you? If it wasn't for the fact that I couldn't break this restriction by myself, why would I need the help of a bunch of idiots like you? The White Lotus Sage's face darkened. He said coldly, Lei Ao, don't you think it's too much to have such an attitude when you are asking for our help? Don't get me wrong. I'm not asking for your help. I'm asking you to help me, unless you don't want this saint's body. Lei Ao said coldly. He was confident that no matter who it was, even if it was a venerable, they would be tempted by the body of a sage. After opening the restriction, who will the sage's body belong to? The White Lotus Saintess asked the question that everyone was most concerned about. Of course it depends on our own abilities. Lei Ao laughed. Everyone had different expressions. Needless to say, the strongest person present was undoubtedly young Emperor Lei Ao. Based on their own abilities, Lei Ao had the upper hand. You're all top-notch Sky Prides of your respective orthodoxies. Yet you don't even have this bit of courage? No wonder you can't even defeat Chu Kuangren. Lei Ao said indifferently. Hearing this, Gu Changa's face darkened. All right then, as you wish. After opening the restriction, we'll have to rely on our own abilities. When the White Lotus Bachelor Sage heard the name Chu Kuangren, his expression turned hostile as well. Humph. I have no objections then. The rest of the geniuses agreed one by one. Not all of them were goaded into action. After all, with the sage's body in front of them, they could not possibly return empty-handed. Instead of sitting back and doing nothing, they might as well give it their all. Very well. Lei Ao laughed as he thought to himself. This Chu Kuangren is really unlikable. Just one mention and it has such an effect. Not far away, Nangong Huang and the others looked at each other. Tisk, luckily elder senior brother is not here now. Otherwise, would they even have a chance to lay their hands on the sage's body? Elder senior brother is not here, but he's everywhere. This Lei Ao even has to borrow elder senior brother's name to snatch a corpse. Murong Xian shook his head, his admiration for Chu Kuangren growing. Are we going to fight later? Of course. Even if elder senior brother is not here, we must not tarnish the name of the Black Heaven sect, Nangong Huang said. They were all Black Heaven sect Taoists, and they were also top-notch Sky Prides. Aside from Chu Kuangren, the others, even a peerless Sky Pride like young Emperor Lei Ao, dared to compete with them. I'll make the first move. Lei Ao was the first to attack. He leaped into the air, and a domineering lightning-based Taoist rhyme circulated around his body. A pair of black thunder wings suddenly appeared. Black water falling thunder. The violent black thunder blasted towards the seal. In an instant, the White Lotus Maiden Sage, Bachelor Sage, Guchanga, Yuan Hong, and the others also made their moves, each displaying their ultimate techniques from their orthodoxies. White Rainbow Piercing Sun. The White Lotus Maiden Sage and Bachelor Sage unleashed a palm attack, and their horrifying palm energy condensed into a dazzling white light that smashed towards the seal like a rainbow. It was a top-notch supreme technique. Universal Bronze Flow. The Dharma sect's Taoist Yuan Hong, on the other hand, gathered the spiritual qi from the heavens and earth, forming a majestic spiritual qi torrent that was unleashed. Guchanga raised his fist, and the roar of a dragon resounded through the clouds. The sky prides of each orthodoxy attacked one after another. Horrifying Taoist rhyme fluctuations spread out, and when they collided with the seal, an earth-shattering explosion erupted, shaking the entire mountain. Even the void was distorted and trembling. Crack, crack. Under the joint attack of the sky prides, a huge crack appeared on the seal that was filled with all sorts of Taoist patterns, and it continued to spread. In the end, the seal that had existed for tens of thousands of years and had been continuously eroded by the deathly aura could not withstand this attack, and it exploded on the spot. The impact from the explosion caused many of the weaker sky prides to be thrown hundreds of feet away, and all of them looked at the dojo in shock. Attack! Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others moved instantly. The few of them dashed towards the dojo, intending to snatch the sage's body. Just the few of you, and you want to fight with me? Lei Ao snorted coldly, and with a flap of his black lightning wings, his figure turned into a flash of lightning, and he arrived in front of Nangong Huang and the others before throwing out a punch. Thunder rumbled, and the punch sent the few of them flying. Then, Lei Ao extended his hand to grab the sage's body. However, at this moment several Taoist rhymes exploded, locking onto Lei Ao. The White Lotus Maiden Sage, Bachelor Sage, Guchanga, and Yuan Hong attacked Lei Ao almost simultaneously. Faced with the joint attack of these four top-notch sky prides, even Lei Ao had no choice but to temporarily stop and channel his spiritual power to fight with them. Heh! You guys know that you're no match for me in a one-on-one fight, so you've decided to gang up on me? Lei Ao flapped his black wings. Even though he was fighting against four of them, he was not at a disadvantage. I'll defeat you first, then we'll split the sage's body, Guchanga said coldly, and then he unleashed his sage technique, the Dragon Slaughter Fist. Humph. Someone who was defeated by Chu Kuangren with a single sword attack. Do you really think you can fight with me? Lei Ao activated his black lightning and blasted his opponent back with a single move. The White Lotus Maiden Sage, Bachelor Sage, and Yuan Hong each activated their ultimate techniques, and Nangong Huang, who was previously blasted back, also joined the battle with his sacred sword. Lei Ao instantly fought against five of them alone. In an instant, supreme techniques, sage techniques, Taoist physique transformations, and various other techniques were continuously unleashed by these sky prides. Chapter 61. On the sage's dojo, the sky prides were engaged in a chaotic battle. All sorts of terrifying and violent Taoist rhymes filled the area. D****. If this goes on, there will be no end to it. Lei Ao frowned as he pushed the White Lotus Maiden Sage back with a punch. Just as the others were about to continue, Lei Ao shouted, "Stop! Oh, even a young emperor is afraid?" Nangong Huang sneered. Humph, what a joke. I just think it's a waste of time if this goes on. How about this, each of us take a step back? I'll take the sage's head and leave the rest to you, Lei Ao said. The White Lotus Maiden Sage and the others looked at each other and seemed to be hesitating. Lei Ao said coldly, "This is already my biggest concession. If this goes on, you guys will benefit from resting." "All right, then it's settled. I want the heart." Guchanga nodded. "I want the bones and part of the flesh. Other than the heart, the organs of the luminous moon sage will belong to the school of White Lotus." The White Lotus Bachelor Sage said calmly. Nangong Huang frowned. "That's a little too much. If you guys take everything, what will the Black Heaven sect get?" "Humph, we're already being merciful by giving you part of the flesh. Are you trying to take advantage of us?" The White Lotus Bachelor Sage said. He seemed to be dissatisfied with the Black Heaven sect and his tone was unfriendly. Seeing this, the others did not stop her. Guchanga said directly, "This is our decision. Do you have any opinion?" "That's right. I suddenly changed my mind. Other than the head, I want the flesh of the Black Heaven sect too," Lei Ao suddenly said, causing Nangong Huang's face to turn pale. Just now they had teamed up against Lei Ao, but now it was the other way around. Everyone had teamed up against the Black Heaven sect. How could Nangong Huang not know the reason? A bunch of lowly people. You don't dare to fight with my elder senior brother. So you want to bully us to regain some of your laughable dignity? What a joke. You guys are not even fit to carry my elder senior brother's shoes. The few of them seemed to have been seen through and their faces turned gloomy. How dare you? Lao shouted and punched out. Violent thunderbolts surged out. Nangong Huang blocked with his sword, but he was still sent flying. Fine electric arcs jumped on his body, and he was seriously injured. Nangong Huang. Murong Xian hurriedly rushed forward. He was so angry that he was about to attack, but he was stopped by Nangong Huang. You're not his match. Don't go up, Nangong Huang said in a low voice. Damn it! Murong Xian and the others were so angry that the veins on their foreheads were bulging. However, they knew very well that nothing good would come out of it if they were to fight now. The sky prides from the other orthodoxies looked at Murong Xian and the others with mocking looks in their eyes. For the past few days, they had been crushed by Chu Kuangren so badly that they could barely breathe. Now they finally felt a little better. Heh, do you really think that everyone in the Black Heaven sect is Chu Kuangren? What a joke! The White Lotus Saint sneered. Beside him, the White Lotus Maiden Sage frowned. Bachelor Sage, your emotions are too obvious. Is there a grudge between you and the Black Heaven sect? No, I just can't stand it. If you don't like Chu Kuangren, you can go look for him. There's no point in humiliating his junior brother here. It will only show how weak you are. The White Lotus Maiden Sage said calmly. In the school of White Lotus, a Maiden Sage was a grade higher than a Bachelor Sage. There were many Bachelor Sages, but there could only be one Maiden Sage. Hence, when she reprimanded the White Lotus Bachelor Sage, the Bachelor Sage's face turned red, but he did not dare to talk back. All he did was hate Chu Kuangren even more. All right, now that the person in the way has been dealt with, I shall take this sage's head. Lao took out a saber and walked towards the sage's body. The surrounding sky prides could not help but shake their heads and sigh. A sage is going to be dismembered after his death. How pitiful. Yeah. No matter how strong you were when you were alive, you're just a corpse after death, waiting to be slaughtered. The sage's body is a rare treasure for many cultivators. Those who are capable would definitely not miss it. Lao held his saber and approached the sage's body step by step. A sinister smile appeared on his face. Senior Sage, please excuse me. Although he said that, he did not hesitate to attack. The saber slashed down at the speed of lightning. Just when the luminous Moon Sage's body was about to be damaged, a purple sword ray entered the battlefield at an even faster speed. The sword radiance reached Lao's saber first even though it was launched later. The saber shattered on the spot and the terrifying impact sent Lao flying. That sword ray, it's you. Lao thought of something and immediately looked towards the source of the sword ray. The others were no exception, but they all had different expressions. Guchanga, the White Lotus Bachelor Sage, and Lao were extremely gloomy. The White Lotus Maiden Sage was a little curious, and Nangong Huang and the others were ecstatic. Elder Senior Brother. It was Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren was dressed in a white robe, his black hair reaching his waist, and his body was surrounded by Taoist rhymes. He was the one who had defeated Lao. When they saw him, everyone's heart skipped a beat, especially Lao. He felt that his opponent's strength had become even stronger. You're really lucky to be able to walk out of that gray mist alive, Lao said coldly. Chu Kuangren replied, even a B** starred like you didn't die, let alone me. This sage's body is mine for the Black Heaven sect. You want to monopolize it? Lao said coldly. Yes. What a joke. Chu Kuangren, you're here. We might have a share, but you're too arrogant to think that you can monopolize it. Do you really think that all these sky prides here are just for show? The White Lotus Bachelor Sage took a step forward, and his aura instantly exploded. Yuan Hong and Guchanga looked unfriendly too. Heh, didn't you guys say that I'm declaring war on the world? Then I'll fight you guys today. Chu Kuangren did not budge an inch. He was grateful that the Luminous Moon Sage had killed the Black Light Sage together with him. He could not sit back and watch others destroy the luminous moon sage's body. All right. Let me see how strong you are. The White Lotus bachelor sage was so angry that he laughed. The jealousy and hatred in his heart urged him to activate the spiritual power within his body. A strong Taoist rhyme emanated from his body, and then he struck out with his palm. A white light bloomed from his palm, and the white rainbow palm energy erupted. Chu Kuangren did not say a word. He simply struck out with his sword, and the purple sword ray whistled, instantly broke through the palm energy, and landed on the White Lotus bachelor sage's body. A scream was followed by a large amount of blood splattered. An arm was thrown high into the air. You can't even withstand a light attack from me, and you want to see my strength? What a joke, Chu Kuangren said indifferently. The White Lotus bachelor sage covered the wound on his broken arm and glared at Chu Kuangren. There was hatred in his eyes, but more than that, there was extreme fear. How could the gap between him and his opponent be so huge? He could not even withstand a single attack. The White Lotus maiden sage slowly walked up and looked at Chu Kuangren. Brother Chu, you're a little too harsh. He didn't hold back at all when he attacked, and I only broke one of his arms. Even I feel that I'm being too merciful. Why, does the White Lotus maiden sage want to give it a try? Chu Kuangren stared coldly at the White Lotus maiden sage. Chapter 62. The smile on the White Lotus maiden sage's face gradually disappeared as she stared at Chu Kuangren. We retreat. Maiden sage. The White Lotus bachelor sage was indignant. He had lost an arm to Chu Kuangren, but the White Lotus maiden sage was unfazed. She did nothing and even wanted to give up on her sage body. How could he accept that? Shut up. The White Lotus maiden sage scolded. Chu Kuangren was too powerful. Even a maiden sage like her could not change anything, so she might as well take the initiative and avoid unnecessary damage. A wise choice, Chu Kuangren said. Giving up without doing anything is not who I am. I have to give it a shot no matter what, Yuan Hong of the Dharma sect said. The few Dharma sect Taoists who came with him immediately made their moves. There were 4 of them in total. The 4 of them surrounded Chu Kuangren, each activating a technique. In an instant, 4 different Taoist rhymes filled the air. It was a powerful combined attack. The Dharma sect's 4 mystical arts. Some of the people who knew him were surprised. The Dharma sect claimed to have learned all kinds of techniques in the world. However, there were only a few that were most famous. The 4 mystical arts was one of them. When the 4 of them activated the 4 techniques of earth, wind, water, and fire together, they could unleash combat strength that far exceeded their cultivation level. It was quite famous in the firmament star. Earth. The earth word was cast, and a huge mountain appeared in the sky. Wind. A violent gust of wind swept across the sky. Water. The sound of rolling waves could be heard in the void. It was as if there was an ocean. Fire. A terrifying flame appeared out of nowhere and burned the sky. The 4 Dharma sect Taoists activated their techniques, and the 4 Taoist rhymes intertwined to form a terrifying force field that crushed towards Chu Kuangren. However, Chu Kuangren stood still with a calm expression. To him, that terrifying domineering aura was like a gentle breeze. Chu Kuangren, take this. No one has ever come out unscathed under the 4 mystical arts, and you're no exception. The 4 Taoists attacked, and the 4 Taoist rhymes of earth, wind, water, and fire formed 4 colorful torrents that exploded instantly. What a show-off. Chu Kuangren smiled calmly. He lightly stamped his foot on the ground. Terrifying sword chi poured out of his body like a tsunami. In the blink of an eye, the 4 symbols art was broken. Under the impact of the sword chi, the 4 Taoists of the Dharma sect flew backward like kites with broken strings. The sky prides were dumbfounded at the sight of this. They were not surprised that Chu Kuangren could break through the 4 mystical techniques, but he did it a little too easily. It was done with just a stomp of his feet. Are you kidding me? Since when did the Dharma sect's art of 4 symbols become so weak? Isn't this a sage art? Indeed, The four symbols as one is comparable to a great saint technique. It's not that the four mystical arts is weak, it's that Chu Kuangren is just too strong. The Dharma sect's Taoists are no match for him at all. There's no need to use any moves. Just the sword energy alone possesses an incomparably terrifying destructive power. Chu Kuangren is terrifying. Seeing that the four mystical arts had been broken, Yuan Hong, who had been quiet all this while, suddenly erupted with a terrifying Taoist rhyme that had been brewing for a long time. Transcendent coalescence. Yuan Hong roared, and the spiritual qi between the heavens and earth surged in an instant, turning into a gorgeous, colorful torrent. This torrent seemed to contain all kinds of cultivation techniques, and all kinds of Taoist rhymes were mixed within it. It was extremely powerful and shocking. At the side, Guchanga also made her move. "Brother Yuan Hong, let me help you." With a punch, the domineering Taoist rhyme formed a golden dragon shadow. The dragon roared and dove towards Chu Kuangren. The transcendent coalescence and the dragon slaughter fist were both sage techniques that were specifically used for attacking. They were extremely mysterious, and when they were used by two top-notch sky prides, their power made everyone at the scene solemn. Even Lei Ao had a hint of caution on his face. Human mountain stamp. Chu Kuangren stood still and raised his hand to gather a majestic amount of earth qi, forming a terrifying godly mountain that blasted out. The three huge forces collided with each other and exploded in the void, forming a colorful shockwave that was incomparably gorgeous. However, the terrifying impact that it contained caused Yuan Hong and Guchanga to spit out blood and fall to the ground. Chu Kuangren's white robe fluttered in the wind. He looked at the gorgeous colors around him and said, "It's like fireworks." Yuan Hong and Guchanga almost vomited blood when they heard him. Like fireworks? Not only did their full-powered attack not hurt Chu Kuangren, but he even called it fireworks. That was just too infuriating. Even Nangong Huang and the others behind Chu Kuangren could not help but twitch their mouths. Their elder senior brother's words were too much of a blow to them. Chu Kuangren was a sky pride after all, yet he did not give him any face at all. However, this feeling, it felt so good, seeing the other sky prides being tortured by Chu Kuangren, Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others only felt proud and carefree. Chu Kuangren. Guchanga stared at Chu Kuangren, his eyes filled with unwillingness. Ever since he was defeated by Chu Kuangren in the Black Heaven sect, he had spent time recuperating and recovering his Taoist core. He had also devoted himself to cultivation, and with the help of various treasures, he had finally broken through to the Paradise Realm. He initially thought that he could catch up to Chu Kuangren's cultivation base. However, he did not expect the gap to be even wider. Last time, he was defeated by Chu Kuangren with a single sword attack. This time, he was defeated by another sky pride of the same level. Beside him, Yuan Hong's face was also filled with bitterness. Encountering such a thing, anyone would feel as if their soul had left their body. How could this be? This is an era of great battles. We should be surrounded by stars, but why is he so much stronger than us? The White Lotus Bachelor Sage could not accept it. Chu Kuangren glanced at him and said, "You're not wrong. This is indeed an era of great battles. It's just that all of you are competing with me." Many sky prides at the scene trembled in shock. On the other hand, Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others were filled with admiration and fanaticism. He had single-handedly declared war against all the sky prides in the world. He had single-handedly fought against the entire world. Lei Ao, who was beside him, was also stunned. "Damn it! Do you have to be so arrogant? Even I, a young emperor, am not as arrogant as you are." However, before Lei Ao could react, Chu Kuangren's gaze locked onto him. The asterisk starred, "You're the one who hurt my junior brother, aren't you?" He had noticed Nangong Huang's injury. Among all the sky prides present, only Lei Ao could produce that kind of domineering lightning-based Taoist rhyme. "Do you want revenge?" Lei Ao said coldly. His gaze was extremely serious, and there were electric arcs leaping around his body. He was very cautious. "Yes, and I'm going to kill you." Chu Kuangren moved. With a swing of the Descendant Self-Sword, a domineering sword ray whizzed out. Lei Ao had no choice but to face it with all his might. The black lightning wings flapped, and the black water falling thunder instantly erupted. The sword ray and the thunder collided. Then, everyone saw a figure fly out and crash into the mountain wall in the distance, continuously spitting blood. That miserable figure was the young Emperor Lei Ao. Chapter 63. Do you think you're worthy of being called a young emperor? Chu Kuangren said. His tone was calm and emotionless, but his words were filled with mockery towards Lei Ao. Lei Ao was extremely frustrated and his eyes were bloodshot. He was a young emperor. When had he ever suffered such humiliation? Chu Kuangren, I'm going to kill you. Lei Ao let out an angry roar. Black lightning erupted from his body and he charged towards Chu Kuangren. He was extremely fast, like a bolt of lightning. At least that was how it looked to others. Even Chu Kuangren felt that his opponent was fast before, but now it was just SOSO in his eyes. He had leveled up too much. With the Supreme Purple Palace Realm Foundation, coupled with the 3 great foundation levels and the exquisite 9 orifices sword heart, he had surpassed his peers in the same realm. Just as Lei Ao was charging towards him, Chu Kuangren had already locked onto his opponent's trajectory. Majestic earth chi surged and turned into a godly mountain that smashed towards him. Lei Ao was once again pushed back. What a terrifying attack. I can't take it head on. Lei Ao was shocked. He slowly calmed himself down and was no longer in a hurry to attack. Black lightning flickered around his body as his silhouette constantly changed. Chu Kuangren, see, can you catch up to me? Not only does my lightning give me a powerful attack, but it also gives me unparalleled speed. Speed is the only unbeatable technique in this world. You have nothing to be afraid of even if you can't hit me. Lei Ao's proud voice echoed in the void. Guchanga, the White Lotus Maiden Sage, and the others were shocked. Even my spiritual thoughts can't catch up to this speed. So fast. Lei Ao's silhouette moved quickly as he aimed for an opening. With a glint in his eyes, he sped up and dashed towards Chu Kuangren's back. He struck out with his palm and violent lightning gathered. However, at that moment, a sword landed on his face and sent him flying. After spinning around a dozen times in the air, he fell to the ground like a dead dog. Jumping up and down, aren't you proud of yourself? Chu Kuangren looked at Lei Ao, who was on the ground, as if he was looking down on an ant. No one knew how angry Lei Ao was at that moment. 3 times. He was sent flying by Chu Kuangren 3 times. Furthermore, he had done it in front of everyone. His authority as a young emperor was practically non-existent. In front of the other sky prides, he was a young emperor. However, in front of Chu Kuangren, he was nothing. Lei Ao laid on the ground, his body twitching non-stop. The black lightning on the surface of his body gradually turned blood red, and an even more domineering Taoist rhyme emanated. Chu Kuangren, you are the first prodigy to force me to use this method. Only by killing you can I wash away this humiliation. Lei Ao slowly stood up. Blood-colored lightning surrounded him, and even his hair turned red. His terrifying aura even forced Guchanga and the other heaven's favorites to retreat. The current Lei Ao's battle power was close to that of a venerable Tao body phenomenon, unstoppable thunder, heaven-shattering blood lightning. Dark clouds covered the sky and thunder rumbled. Lei Ao activated his blood-colored lightning, and with the help of his Taoist physique transformation, he charged towards Chu Kuangren with such power that it distorted the void. Heaven-rending drawing technique. Chu Kuangren swung his sword and a dazzling purple sword ray shone. The sword light blotted out the sky and almost swallowed the world. It also engulfed the blood-colored lightning. The terrifying sword attack caused Lei Ao to let out a blood-curdling scream as he reverted back to his original form of a thunder hawk. The sword chi raged and streaks of blood appeared on Lei Ao's body. A large amount of blood splattered like a rain of blood. Run. Lei Ao no longer had any thoughts of resisting. With a flap of his wings, a large amount of lightning exploded. He used a certain treasure to forcefully shatter the sword ray before he frantically fled into the distance. His speed was already extremely fast, and with the addition of the treasure, Lao's speed was so fast that even an honorable might not be able to catch up to him. Trying to escape? You'll have to ask for my permission first. 9 Heaven Sword Prison. With a soft shout, 12 long pillars formed by sword chi appeared between heaven and earth. There were runes circling around them, sealing the sky and locking the earth. Under this Taoist physique transformation, Lao's body suddenly felt a strong constraint as if he was tied up by countless shackles. Not only that, but the spatial structure also seemed to have changed. How can this be? How can his physique be so strong? No, this physique transformation has spatial energy, Lao said in horror. The most obvious characteristic of the Paradise Realm was the initial contact with spatial energy. However, using spatial energy required a long period of practice. Chu Kuangren had just ascended to the Paradise Realm, so how could he use spatial energy and integrate it into his Taoist physique transformation? This is the difference between you and me, Chu Kuangren said calmly. With the help of the godly essence, he had stepped into the Paradise Realm and entered the state of Tao enlightenment. In addition to that, he had also entered the state of Tao enlightenment before and absorbed the primordial purple haze. His understanding of Tao was too deep. This also included the cultivation secrets of each realm. Since he had stepped into the Paradise Realm, spatial energy was already at his fingertips. Integrating it into his physique transformation was a piece of cake. Chu Kuangren, what are you trying to do? If you dare to kill me, the Thunder Falcon tribe will never forgive you, Lao threatened. Let them come then. Chu Kuangren waved his sacred sword and the heaven-slaying sword drawing technique appeared again. This time there were no surprises. Lao was instantly minced into a bloody mist by the sword chi. The current young emperor had fallen. The White Lotus Maiden Sage, Bachelor Sage Yuan Hong, and the others watched the scene with their hearts trembling. They stared at the white-robed figure with their hearts trembling. The 8 young emperors of this world were the pinnacle of sky prides. Countless people had tried to topple them, but to no avail. Today, a young emperor had fallen in front of them. Chu Kuangren, Chu Kuangren. Many people murmured that name in a daze. They knew that from that day onward, that name would be the peak that countless sky prides could only dream of. Chu Kuangren slowly walked to the dojo and placed the luminous moon sage's body into his yin and yang ring. No one dared to object, because no one had the right to object. Let's go, Chu Kuangren said. The people of Black Heaven sect left. Coincidentally, just as Chu Kuangren and the others left, Fang Tian, Lin Badian, and a few other sky prides who were trapped in the gray mist also arrived at the dojo. Bachelor Sage, and what happened to you guys? Fang Tian was shocked to see the White Lotus Bachelor Sage with a broken arm and the severely injured Guchanga and Yuan Hong. It's all because of you, Chu Kuangren, the White Lotus Bachelor Sage said viciously. Fang Tian and Lin Batian looked at each other with an, as expected, expression. Besides Chu Kuangren, who else could single-handedly injure those top-notch sky prides? I say, why did you guys go and provoke him for no reason? That guy can even kill a sage. Fang Tian said. What? The people who were about to leave were shocked and quickly surrounded them. Their eyes were filled with horror. Just now, the red rain and the mournful cries were indeed the signs of a fallen sage. But did Chu Kuangren kill that sage? Quick, tell us now. Fang Tian and Lin Batian immediately recounted what they had seen and heard in the gray mist. Everyone who heard it felt absurd. Killing a sage? They saw sages as gods, high and mighty. However, Chu Kuangren had already slain a sage. Chapter 64. Outside the secret realm of the bright moon. The elites of the various orthodoxies were all discussing something. They were originally talking about the phenomenon of a sage falling, but now they were thinking about which orthodoxy's prodigy would be able to take the lead in this trip to the mystic realm. Among them, the one who was the most pleased was the supreme of the Thunder Falcon tribe. My clan's Lao is one of the current 8 young emperors. His combat strength is unparalleled, and he is able to fight opponents who are a whole realm higher than him. In other words, his strength is equivalent to a Battle King warrior. Who in the mystery realm could possibly be his match? The most obvious characteristic of a young emperor was his ability to fight across realms, and not just by a small realm but by a large realm. The higher the cultivation realm, the harder it was to advance. Only those who could fight a king at the Dongshu realm were qualified to be called a young emperor. The geniuses who entered the secret realm were all below the Battle King level, but Lei Ao had the battle strength of a Battle King. This was definitely a huge advantage. It was no wonder that the Thunder Falcon tribe was so proud of themselves. If there were no accidents, Lei Ao would gain the most this time. The Thunder Falcon tribe is overconfident. I think the Black Heaven sect's elder senior brother might not be any weaker than your tribe's Lei Ao. One of the honorable ones said. It was not that he was on good terms with the Black Heaven sect, but he simply could not stand the sight of the Thunder Falcon tribe acting so arrogantly. Oh, Chu Kuangren, huh? He's quite a good seedling. I hope he doesn't encounter my tribe's Lei Ao. Otherwise, his fate will be uncertain. The honorable one of the Thunder Falcon tribe was very confident in Lei Ao. Hearing those words, Elder Ruyan was instantly dissatisfied. Supreme Lei Hua, do you really think that Lei Ao is invincible? If he were to encounter Kuangren, it's hard to say who would emerge victorious. You should worry about Lei Ao instead. Oh, then let us wait and see. Sovereign Lei Hua sneered in disdain, waiting to see a joke. Suddenly, Sovereign Lei Hua frowned. He felt a fluctuation coming from his universe ring. It was a communication compass. A message from the clan? What's going on? Master Lei Hua, Lei Ao's life fire has been extinguished. What's going on? A low roar came from the communication artifact. Even without seeing it, one could imagine how ugly the expression of the owner of the voice was. Life fire represented a cultivator's life. Many orthodoxies would take a drop of their disciples' blood essence to create a life fire and leave it in the orthodoxy. The extinguishing of the vital flame meant that the cultivator was dead. Many people present heard the voice of the communication artifact. Instantly, everyone's expression became extremely strange. A few supreme martial artists almost burst out laughing on the spot. Supremacy Lei Hua's face turned pale in an instant. He was also dumbfounded. How did young Emperor Lei Ao die? Patriarch, I don't know. The young emperor is still in the secret territory. Autarch Thunderfire said hurriedly. Inside the arcane realm? He's dead. The Thunder Falcon tribe leader bellowed. Stay where you are. Find out what happened and how Lei Ao died. That was a young emperor. He was a young emperor with a bright future. Once he grew up, he might not be 100% sure to become an emperor, but he would at least be a pillar of support for an orthodoxy. No other orthodoxy would be able to take it. The light of the communication artifact went out. However, Sovereign Lei Hua was still in a daze. The venerables of the other orthodoxies looked at each other with playful expressions. Just a second ago, he had been so smug about how great his young emperor was. Now, his young emperor was dead. Was there anything more dramatic than this? Who the hell did this? Sovereign Lei Hua's face darkened when he regained his senses. Meanwhile, inside the secret realm of the luminous moon, Chu Kuangren, Lan Yu, and Nangong Huang were exploring the secret realm. The secret realm was huge. Although it was run down, it was still the residence of a sage. There were still many opportunities of fortune to be found. For example, supreme elixirs and spiritual ores. Chu Kuangren even met Li Xingqian. When he first met him, he was fighting a few black death beasts. Fortunately, Chu Kuangren arrived at the last moment. Otherwise, Li Xingqian might not have survived. It's too scary. How can there be such terrifying beasts in this secret realm? They're all battle monarchs. Li Xingqian was still traumatized. They all came out from the gray mist. Chu Kuangren said, these battle monarch-level black death beasts were reared by the Black Light Saint in the gray fog and fed with the death chi. Now that the Black Light Saint was dead and the gray fog domain was gone, these black death beasts scattered. Brother Chu, this secret realm is too dangerous. It's safer for me to stay by your side. What do you think? Li Xingchen smiled and said, It's up to you. Chu Kuangren did not have any objections. The secret realm was huge. It would probably take a few days to explore. What do you think about this luminous moon sage? Why would he live in such a big place alone? Li Xingchen muttered. Beside him, Nangong Huang said, Sages are also human. They have different personalities. Some sages can live in a hut, while others like to live in luxurious palaces. It's not unusual. That's true. This sage's means are extraordinary. He could actually open up such a big small realm. It's almost half the size of our White Cloud City. Amazing, Li Xingchen said. Yes, indeed. The Sky Prides gathered together and chatted. Chu Kuangren sat beside them. It looked like he was resting with his eyes closed, but in fact he was doing the daily lottery. Taishang Laojun, the Jade Emperor, Buddha, any god will do. Please bless me with good luck this time. Even if I don't ask for the Starlight Legend, I don't think it's too much to ask for gold, right? Chu Kuangren's expression was calm, but his heart was swearing. Ever since he got the Heaven Spiritual Marrow, he had never gotten a gold reward again. Even silver rewards were pitifully few. Congratulations, host. You have obtained the legendary divine treasure locating skill. Damn! Chu Kuangren stood up immediately. It turned out to be a legendary divine skill. Luck was on his side. Everyone was stunned when they saw Chu Kuangren's ecstatic face. They had never seen him so excited before. Elder senior brother, what's wrong? Everyone asked curiously. Ahem, nothing. I just thought of something happy. Chu Kuangren suppressed his excitement and said, Brother Chu, what happy thing? Tell us so we can be happy. Li Xingchen asked curiously. It's just a joke. There used to be a family with a child named Zhu Chuan. Every time his mother went to buy clothes, she would say that it was for her pig. Ha ha! Chu Kuangren laughed. Nangong Huang, Li Xingchen, and the others looked at each other. What is so funny? Or am I too funny? Ha ha! It's so funny. Zhu Chuan? A pig? Ha ha! Murong Xian suddenly slapped his thigh and laughed wildly. Nangong Huang and the others reacted instantly. This was a joke told by their elder senior brother. Not laughing meant that they were not giving him face. Laugh, they had to laugh. Haha, it's funny. It's so funny. Amazing, as expected of our elder senior brother. This is the funniest joke I've ever heard. I can laugh for a whole year. Ha ha ha. Brother Chu, it's really you. I'm dying of laughter. Chu Kuangren was a little confused as he looked at the others who were holding their stomachs in laughter. Wait, is this joke really that funny? He looked at Lan Yu, who was next to him. Lan Yu saw him looking at her and forced a smile. Ha ha. Chapter 65. Everyone burst into laughter. Chu Kuangren shook his head helplessly and sat on the spot. His mind was filled with information about the newly acquired divine ability. The treasure locating skill, as the name suggested, was a divine ability used to search for treasures. The range of the search depended on the user's cultivation level. It was very powerful. This divine ability came at the right time. A smile appeared on Chu Kuangren's face. With a thought, he began to use the treasure locating skill. What followed was information that flooded in from all directions. There is a supreme elixir on a hill 300 kilometers ahead. There is a spirit mine 400 kilometers northwest. There is a supreme weapon hidden in a cave 300 kilometers south. There is a condensed earth spiritual marrow 1,300 kilometers south. All sorts of information about the treasures appeared in Chu Kuangren's mind one after another, even accompanied by a series of images. This treasure locating skill was too powerful. It was indeed a legendary grade divine ability. Chu Kuangren felt like he was a walking treasure detector. He knew exactly where the treasures were. This is great. Chu Kuangren was extremely excited. Once they were done resting, Chu Kuangren could not wait to bring Lan Yu and the others to the nearest treasure. On a hill, a ginseng-like treasure was buried in the ground. Suddenly, The supreme elixir let out a burst of light. It was the light of transformation. It was a symbol of the supreme elixir's advancement. The light of transformation attracted a few cultivators. This light is so intense. This is at least a top-tier supreme elixir. It might even be close to the honorable grade. This pill is very useful to me. Humph. This supreme elixir belongs to me. In an instant, a few sky prides fought over the supreme elixir. Not long after, a few people arrived. The sky prides stopped fighting when they saw who it was. They looked at the newcomer with a serious and even fearful expression. It's him, Chu Kuangren. Why is he here? Chu Kuangren ignored the others and walked straight to the supreme elixir. He dug it out and placed it in his yin and yang ring. At that moment, someone was unhappy. Chu Kuangren, this supreme elixir was discovered by us first. Don't you think it's rude of you to take it without asking? Chu Kuangren seemed to be deep in thought. You're right. It's indeed impolite. After he finished speaking, he looked at them and said, Then let me ask you something. I want to take this precious medicine away now. Who objects? Who agrees? I object. A cultivator shouted. As soon as he finished speaking, a sword chi whizzed out and instantly blew the cultivator away. He fell to the ground and coughed up blood. When the others saw this, they felt their scalps go numb. Who's against? Who's in favor? Chu Kuangren asked again as he looked at the group seriously. I agree. I agree. The few of them were madly roaring in their hearts. Shameless. How are we supposed to oppose you like this? Do we have the right to object? F***CK. Chu Kuangren nodded in satisfaction. Very good. Actually, I'm quite an easygoing person. If anyone has any opinions, feel free to voice them out. Since no one has any more opinions, I shall take my leave first. He then led Lan Yu and the others towards the next treasure location. The remaining prodigies were left in a state of confusion. Inside the secret realm, some of the sky prides were fighting for the earth's spiritual marrow. At that moment, Chu Kuangren intervened and said, This earth's spiritual marrow belongs to me. Who agrees? Who objects? None of the sky prides had the right to object. Even a sky pride like Yuan Hong, who was fighting for the earth's spiritual marrow, could only keep his mouth shut. He was extremely frustrated. This treasure belongs to me. Who agrees? Who objects? I object. Those who object died. Is there anyone else who objects? The crowd was speechless. Very well. Similar situations were happening all over the secret realm. Chu Kuangren led Lan Yu and the others to collect all kinds of treasures. Just a second ago, there were people fighting to the death for treasures. But the next second, Chu Kuangren came over and took it away. Everyone was puzzled. The secret realm of the luminous moon was so big. Why was Chu Kuangren always able to find treasures? Could it be that the secret realm was his backyard? However, it did seem to be the case. No one in the secret realm was a match for Chu Kuangren. He could do whatever he wanted. Was this not his backyard after all? F***CK. This goddamn Chu Kuangren is too overbearing. I went through so much trouble to find a supreme weapon and he took it away just like that. Who objects? Who objects? F***CK him? Who would dare to object? It's all because of that one sword of his. Sob, my earth's spiritual marrow. This trip to the secret realm is so frustrating. Dear heavens, please strike this B*** down with a bolt of lightning. Let's go, let's go. What else is there to play with? This B** is so arrogant. Isn't he afraid of offending everyone? Even the elder brother of the Black Heaven sect is too arrogant. What's there to be afraid of? He even dared to kill Lao. Why would he be afraid of offending us? He had already declared war on the world before he entered the realm anyway. So he's not afraid of offending us anymore. Sai Kuangren, what a crazy person. The entire secret realm was filled with complaints. Countless sky prides were suppressed by Chu Kuangren to the point where they could not even lift their heads. On a mountain path in the secret realm, Chu Kuangren led Lan Yu and the others towards the next treasure. Behind him, Murong Xian, Nan Gong Huang, and the others stared at his back with a fanatical gaze. They had been too excited for the past few days. One by one, they kept the treasures in their pockets. They did not even have to lift a finger. No one dared to touch Chu Kuangren when he went to battle. The feeling of being led by a big shot was so satisfying. The next treasure is an honorable supreme elixir. Chu Kuangren's expression changed slightly when he sensed the next treasure. An honorable supreme elixir was very useful even for an honorable. Cultivators below the honorable realm would go crazy for it. Of course, it was not very useful for Chu Kuangren. His foundation was too terrifying, so even an honorable supreme elixir would not have much of an effect on him. However, it was a good gift for his junior brothers and sisters. In the past few days, he had also given most of the treasures that he had snatched from the secret realm to Nangong Huang, Murongxian, and the others. This made them even more loyal to him. Soon, Chu Kuangren arrived at the location of the honorable supreme elixir. However, he saw someone there. He did not pay much attention at first, but when he realized who that person was, he was shocked. Oh, it's him. Chu Kuangren could not help but be surprised when he saw the blood-robed cultivator before him. This person was the spirit blood-child of the Yasha tribe. The spirit blood-child and Chu Kuangren arrived at the location of the honorable supreme elixir at almost the same time. When their gazes met, they were both shocked. I didn't expect to meet you here, Chu Kuangren. The spirit blood-child looked at Chu Kuangren with a hint of curiosity on his evil face. He had heard a lot about Chu Kuangren in the past few days. Each and every one of them was so earth-shattering. I didn't expect that either. Chu Kuangren chuckled. He then looked at the supreme elixir that was emitting a faint glow and said, "So here's the question. I want this supreme elixir. Are you against it or against it?" Chapter 66. I object, the spirit bloodchild said coldly. That honorable supreme elixir was extremely valuable, so he could not give it up so easily. Besides, it would be embarrassing for him to give it to him just like that. They were all sky prides, so they could just fight it out. I heard that you killed Lao. Very well. Even if you failed to kill him, I would have done it anyway, the spirit bloodchild said coldly. Why? Do you have a grudge against him? Chu Kuangren asked. No, but he has the title of young emperor. That title is quite good, so I want to take it for myself. The two of them chatted casually like old friends reuniting. However, everyone could feel a terrifying aura emanating from the surroundings. Two invisible Taoist rhymes were violently colliding in the void, and Chu Kuangren and the spirit bloodchild's aura was rising rapidly. Boom! The spirit bloodchild was the first to attack. The ground he was standing on suddenly exploded, and his figure disappeared from the spot. When he reappeared, he was already above Chu Kuangren. A palm that contained a blood-colored brilliance fell from the sky. Vaguely, Chu Kuangren saw a sea of blood. The spirit blood Taoist physique is quite impressive. Chu Kuangren smiled as the descendant self-sword appeared in his hand. He then raised his hand and stabbed it towards the sky. A purple sword ray instantly pierced through the air. The two forces collided in mid-air, setting off an incomparably violent airwave that slapped the void and spread out in circles like a tide. Nangong Huang, Murongxian, and the others were forced to retreat several dozen feet. How powerful! Is this the spirit blood Taoist physique? A battle between two supreme Taoist physiques is not something an ordinary person can witness. I must observe carefully. A few people stood nearby and watched the battle. Seeing that his attack did not work, the spirit bloodchild retreated a distance and stared at Chu Kuangren. How do you know about the spirit blood Taoist physique? Isn't it obvious? Chu Kuangren smiled. What information was there that he did not know once the Eye of Revelation was activated? However, the spirit bloodchild did not expect Chu Kuangren to have such a technique. He only thought that he had accidentally revealed his aura. If Chu Kuangren was knowledgeable, it would not be surprising for him to recognize the spirit blood Taoist physique. Since you already know, then I won't bother hiding it anymore. Blood spirit Tao form, blood sea anomaly, activate. In an instant, A large amount of Taoist rhymes rose behind Blood Spirit Child, and a magnificent image of a sea of blood appeared in the void. The sea of blood surged endlessly and was incomparably vast. Blood Sea Anomaly. Bolstered by the power of the phenomenon, Master Blood Spirit's strength soared. Sword of the Heavens. Chu Kuangren also activated his Taoist physique transformation. Runes swirled above his head, and the Sword of Heaven's path materialized. Very well. Let's decide who is stronger between the exquisite 9 orifices sword heart and the Blood Spirit Taoist figure today. Blood Spirit Master laughed and grabbed at the void with his 5 fingers. A large amount of Taoist connotation gathered. A terrifyingly huge blood-colored hand then charged towards Chu Kuangren. The terrifying power caused the earth to shake. Prodigious blood hand. Chu Kuangren's eyes narrowed slightly when he saw the gigantic blood-colored palm that shook the void. With the Descendant Self sword in his hand, he swung it out. The purple sword light blotted out the sky. 2 surges of energy and 2 types of Taoist rhymes collided with each other, causing the surrounding ground and the void to shake violently. Shockwaves surged and turned into an unparalleled force of impact. Under this impact, the Blood Sea Anomaly behind Blood Spirit Master violently fluctuated, and he himself was blasted nearly 100 meters away. On the other hand, Chu Kuangren stood where he was with his white robe and black hair fluttering in the wind. With the Descendant Self sword in his hand, he was as steady as an immortal. How can this be? Blood Spirit Master's pupils shrunk in disbelief. He had a supreme Taoist physique, a Paradise Realm cultivation base, and a sage technique. He was confident that he could defeat even young Emperor Lei Ao. However, he had only exchanged 1 move with Chu Kuangren, and yet he was forced to retreat. His opponent was unbelievably strong. We're both supreme Taoist physiques, but why is there such a huge gap between us? Blood Spirit Master's expression changed. He could not figure it out. Chu Kuangren replied indifferently, "You didn't lose because of your Taoist physique, but because of your strength. The one who lost is me, Chu Kuangren." No, it's still too early to say who's the winner. Blood Spirit Master's expression darkened, and the spiritual power within his body began to boil. A surge of Taoist rhyme soared into the sky and gradually formed a blood-colored bridge behind Blood Spirit Master, which then landed on the Blood Sea. A surge of deathly stillness erupted. Taoist physique anomaly. Bridge of dead spirits. Do you think this is the end? There's more. Sage technique. Great Acheron technique. Blood Spirit Master let out a low roar, and an overbearing surge of Taoist rhyme rose and transformed into a murky river that rushed out. It was like the legendary Acheron. Under the enhancement of the 2 phenomenons, Xuelingzi's attack had reached an unparalleled level. The boundless yellow river surged through the void with a deathly stillness that sent a chill down everyone's spine. You do have the strength to kill Lei Ao. Chu Kuangren smiled as he looked at the Acheron technique that was pouring down. Then, he held the Descendant Self sword in his hand and deflected the blade. Unfortunately, you're still far from being able to kill me. Heaven-slaying sword drawing technique. With a single slash, a purple sword ray bloomed. The Acheron technique was instantly split into 2 halves, which then violently crashed into the ground. The sword ray then broke through the Acheron technique like a hot knife through butter and landed on Blood Spirit Master's body. A blood-colored ray of light flashed past. Blood Spirit Master was sent flying on the spot, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His 2 transformations were shattered, and his powerful Taoist rhyme dissipated on the spot. Blood Spirit Master, who had been severely injured, was horrified. He had unleashed his full strength, but he could not even withstand a single slash from his opponent. If it were not for the defensive treasure that he had on him that nullified most of the sword chi, that slash just now would have taken his life. What kind of strength was that? Run! Blood Spirit Master did not dare to stay any longer. He turned into a ray of blood-colored light and dashed into the distance. Chu Kuangren was about to activate his sword intent to seal off his opponent's path of retreat. Since he was going to attack, he would not hold back. Since his opponent was a supreme Taoist physique, he might bring trouble to Chu Kuangren in the future. Therefore, killing him on the spot was the best option. However, before the 9 Heaven Sword prison transformation could fully activate, a terrifying surge of spiritual power erupted from Blood Spirit Master's body. A drop of blood-colored cinnabar with Taoist rhyme flowed between his brows and blasted towards Chu Kuangren. That attack was so terrifying that even Blood Spirit Master had to take it seriously. I'm afraid that's an honorable attack. It must be a technique left behind by the powerful Wuxia tribe. Chu Kuangren's eyes narrowed as he activated all 3 of his Taoist physique transformations and activated the heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique to its limit. In an instant, the entire realm shook, and black cracks appeared in the void as if it was about to shatter. Fortunately, the spatial structure of the secret realm of the luminous moon was stable enough. Otherwise, that attack would have collapsed the entire realm. That kind of power was enough to kill all the sky prides in the secret realm. You're quite a fast runner. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Chu Kuangren did not have many regrets. Since he could defeat his opponent once, naturally, he would be able to step on his opponent forever. This Blood Spirit Master's strength is extraordinary. I can't believe he could withstand a few attacks from Elder Senior Brother, as expected of a supreme Taoist physique. Yes, he's slightly stronger than Lei Ao, Nangong Huang and the others said. In their eyes, sky prides who could withstand a few attacks from Chu Kuangren were already on the same level as Lei Ao. They wondered what the other sky prides would think if they knew about this. Chapter 67. 3 days. Chu Kuangren relied on his treasure locating skill and led Lan Yu and the others into the secret realm for 3 days. They might not have taken all the treasures in the secret realm, but at least 70 to 80% of the treasures were taken. After all, there were many sky prides who entered the secret realm. Aside from the 8 great sage orthodoxies, there were also a few sage tribes. There were about 200 of them, yet Chu Kuangren had taken 80% of the treasures in the secret realm. If word of this got out, it would be terrifying. In addition to the Honorable Yuan Ling's treasures that Chu Kuangren had looted when he first left the mountain, the treasures he had now were more than an honorable orthodoxy. Sigh, what a pity. Although there are many treasures, not many of them are useful to me. Besides, I didn't find the luminous moon sage's inheritance either. Chu Kuangren sighed. Perhaps it was because the luminous moon sage's life was in danger after his battle with the black light sage, so he did not have time to leave his inheritance. All right, we're almost done looting. It's time to leave, Chu Kuangren said. Outside the secret realm, a few strong cultivators from the orthodoxies estimated that the secret realm exploration was about to end. One of the honorables said, "There should be many opportunities of fortune in this secret realm. I believe everyone won't return empty-handed." Not bad. I wonder who will come out on top. Beside them, Honorable Lei Hu did not say anything, but his expression became gloomy. The sage tribe had suffered a huge loss in this secret realm exploration. Losing a young emperor was not something they could make up for. I don't care. My young emperor's death better not have anything to do with your Taoist. Otherwise, my tribe will not let you off. Honorable Lei Hu swept his gaze across the honorables. However, none of them cared. They were all from similar orthodoxies, so who was afraid of whom? Who are you trying to scare? Upon hearing Sovereign Lei Hu's words, Elder Ruyan, who originally disliked Sovereign Lei Hu, couldn't help but mock him. Honorable Lei Hu looked over. Among the sky prides who entered the secret realm, besides my tribe's young emperor, Chu Kuangren of your Black Heaven sect is the strongest. Humph, if you're talking about who is most likely to kill him, then Chu Kuangren is the biggest suspect. Humph. Nonsense. Kuangren is a humble and gentle person, and he never takes the initiative to hurt anyone. Opportunities of fortune and danger coexist in the secret realm. Who knows if your tribe's Lei Ao died because he triggered some restrictions? Elder Ruyan said. The supremacies of the orthodoxies present all had strange expressions on their faces. Humble and gentle? Are you kidding me? Chu Kuangren had declared war on the world, killed Honorable Swordsman White Cloud and destroyed his entire residence. No matter how one looked at him, Chu Kuangren did not look like a humble and gentle person. The corner of the seventh ancestor's mouth twitched when he heard Elder Ruyan's words. That little guy, modest and gentle my ass. Swoosh! At that moment someone came out of the mystic realm. It was Fang Tian from the Five Elements sect. Fang Tian. The honorable ones from the Five Elements sect were about to rush forward, but someone else was faster than him. It was the Thunder Falcon tribe's Honorable Lei Hua. Supremacy Lei Hua said coldly, "Who killed my young emperor?" "Humph! Exalt Lei Hua. Don't go overboard." The venerable from the Five Elements sect said in dissatisfaction. "I'm just asking." Everyone looked at Fang Tian, obviously very interested in this matter. Chu Kuangren. Fang Tian did not hide the truth. As soon as he said that, Honorable Lei Hua's expression turned extremely gloomy. Good. It really is that Chu Kuangren. Elder Ruyan was a little dumbfounded. She had just praised Chu Kuangren for being modest and gentle, and now he had killed a young emperor. She was caught off guard. Black Heaven sect, what else do you have to say? Honorable Lei Hua looked at Elder Ruyan angrily. Kuangren must have a reason for killing Lei Ao. Who knows, maybe it was your tribe's Lei Ao who picked a fight for no reason. Elder Ruyan defended. Then, everyone looked at Fang Tian, waiting for him to continue. Fang Tian did not hide the truth and told them everything that had happened. Sage's remains. So they were fighting over the sage's remains. Tisk tsk, if that's the case, the sage's remains are now in Chu Kuangren's hands. What a tyrannical guy. Fighting against the world alone. Kuangren lives up to his name. What a modest and gentle Chu Kuangren. He's so humble that he took the sage's remains for himself, not leaving anything for others. Now, it was not just Honorable Lei Hua. The other honorables looked a little upset too. Elder Ruyan said calmly, "The sage's remains belong to those who are capable. Kuangren was able to take it for himself because he's capable. As for killing Lei Ao, casualties are inevitable in a battle between sky prides. If he's dead, then so be it. He can only blame himself for being too weak." Her attitude was very clear. Kuangren of the Black Heaven sect has his reasons for doing anything. What do you guys want? Do you guys want to start a war? A war between sage orthodoxies was no laughing matter. Once it broke out, not only would the lives be lost, but the orthodoxies would also fight to the death. It was not impossible for an orthodoxy that had been passed down for tens of thousands of years to be destroyed overnight. That's not all. Fang Tian gritted his teeth and continued to tell them about how Chu Kuangren had been looting the secret realm for the past few days. The more the honorables listened, the more terrified they became. Everyone stared at Elder Ruyan angrily. Black Heaven sect, you guys have crossed the line. You guys have taken all the treasures in the secret realm. What else can we take? Are you trying to make us come here for nothing? That's right. Chu Kuangren must give us an explanation. Can the Black Heaven sect even swallow a single person who took everything for himself? Elder Ruyan was shocked as well. This is too much. Elder Ruyan came to her senses when she heard the questions from the venerable ones. She said calmly, "These treasures were obtained by Kuangren with his own abilities. It is only right and proper for the capable to obtain more. Why should I give you an explanation?" The honorables were so angry that their faces turned green. They were speechless. Also, at that moment, Fang Tian spoke again. The group of venerable ones looked over in that direction. Also, what ridiculous thing did Chu Kuangren do this time? Chu Kuangren is really something. Under the gaze of the honorables, Fang Tian took a deep breath and said, "Chu Kuangren killed a sage." Suddenly, the surroundings became extremely quiet. It was so quiet that even a pin drop could be heard. Just when Fang Tian was surprised that no one spoke, several surges of domineering aura landed on him, almost forcing him to the ground. "What did you say? Chu Kuangren killed a sage. How is that possible? Nonsense. How can such a thing happen?" The crowd could not believe it. However, when they thought about the sage's fall, they began to believe it, but they still felt that it was unbelievable. How could Chu Kuangren kill a sage? Even Elder Ruyan was startled by this. Fangtian, tell us. The 5 Ways Sect's honorables quickly said. Fangtian told them everything that happened in the gray mist. After the honorables heard it, they felt that the world was too surreal. A young junior killed a sage? No matter how they listened to it, it sounded like a fantasy story. After that, more people walked out of the secret realm. Some of the honorables asked about Chu Kuangren, and the answers they got were basically the same as what Fangtian said. Is this guy going to defy the heavens? Last time he killed an honorable supreme and now he killed a sage. Is he still human? Even in the era of great battles, it's still too much for someone like him to appear. Chapter 68. Chu Kuangren's actions in the secret realm spread like wildfire. The crowd of honorables was dumbfounded by the news. Killing a sage? The impact on them was too great. They only felt that all of this was too unreal, and there was a sense of absurdity in it. Even Elder Ruyan thought it was an exaggeration. If even the honorables felt that way, then the rest of the people were even more shocked. The hundreds of thousands of cultivators who came to the Northern Sea were shocked to the core. Chu Kuangren killed a sage? Oh my God! Is that for real? Even the honorables admitted it. Even the sage perishing phenomenon appeared. How can it be fake? This Chu Kuangren is too terrifying. The news spread among the cultivators. One could imagine how Chu Kuangren would shake the world once again when these people left. Not just the Azure Dragon domain, but the entire 4 domains would be shocked. Whoosh! A ray of light shot out from the secret realm. It was a young man in a blood-red robe. Honorable Yi Shui of the Wuxia tribe hurried to him. Spirit Bloodchild, are you alright? I'm fine. Just a little injured. Spirit Bloodchild said with a grim expression. Who did this? Honorable Yi Shui asked. Chu Kuangren. Honorable Yi Shui's expression changed slightly, but he was not surprised. He's the only one who can hurt you in the entire secret realm. He also noticed that the cinnabar mark between Spirit Bloodchild's brows had disappeared. That was a life-saving technique that he left for Spirit Bloodchild. He did not expect Chu Kuangren to use it. Chu Kuangren was indeed powerful. When almost everyone was out, Elder Ruyan looked at the secret realm. Why aren't Kuangren and the others out yet? As soon as she said that, a few people walked out of the secret realm. It was Chu Kuangren and the people from the Black Heaven sect. Countless cultivators looked over. Some were excited, some were eager, and some were afraid. The moment Chu Kuangren stepped out of the secret realm, he could feel several terrifying auras shrouding his body and locking onto him. Chu Kuangren, pay with your life for the death of our young emperor. Honorable Lei Hua immediately attacked. The aura of an honorable erupted and shook the heavens and earth. Old man, don't you dare. Elder Ruyan had long been prepared for this move by Sovereign Lei Hua. The instant he made his move, she immediately stepped forward to stop him. However, even if he could stop Paragon Lei Hua, the other venerables wouldn't be able to stop him. Elder Ruyan's expression changed. Madman. However, Chu Kuangren, who was being targeted by several honorables, stood his ground calmly. He did not panic at all. Humph! A cold snort came from the void. A few terrifying rays of sword light burst forth and slashed at the honorable ones from the Thunder Falcon tribe. What? Not good! In the blink of an eye, several clouds of bloody mist exploded in the air. These supremacies were actually killed at the same time. Even a supreme being might not be able to achieve such strength. It's Chu Kuangren's protector. This strength, honorable supremacy. It's an honorable supreme. The Black Heaven sect actually assigned an honorable supreme as his protector. The experts from the orthodoxies present were shocked once again. Honorable supremes were absolute powerhouses in any orthodoxy. There were no more than 20 known honorable supremes in the Azure Dragon domain, and most of them were the supreme rulers of the sage orthodoxies and sacred clans. However, Chu Kuangren actually had such an existence secretly protecting him. Whoever dares to touch him shall die. The seventh forefather's voice echoed throughout the sky. Elder Ruyan was delighted, but she soon became confused. That's the seventh forefather's voice, but why does it sound so much younger? Honorable Supreme. Honorable Lei Hua stopped attacking and looked at the bloody mist that exploded in the air. His face was extremely gloomy. They had already lost a young emperor, and now they had lost a few honorables. This trip to the secret realm had caused too much damage to the Thunder Falcon tribe. The Thunder Falcon tribe will remember this. Honorable Lei Hua was about to leave as soon as he finished speaking. With an Honorable Supreme around, he could not do anything. Oh, you still dare to threaten me? The seventh forefather's voice rang out again. Following that, a ray of sword ray with a terrifying Taoist rhyme swept out and locked onto Honorable Lei Hua. What? Honorable Lei Hua was shocked and quickly blocked the attack. Violent lightning and flames blasted out. However, the difference between an Honorable Supreme and an Honorable Supreme was too great. The sword ray tore through Honorable Lei Hua's thunderfire like a hot knife through butter and chopped off one of his arms. My arm! Honorable Lei Hua's face turned pale. I'll spare your life. Go back and tell your clan leader that we'll let the younger generation settle their own matters. If they dare to play any tricks, the Black Heaven sect will not hesitate to start an orthodoxy war. The seventh forefather said coldly with a domineering tone. He was giving them a warning. It was a warning to the Thunder Falcon tribe and at the same time, a warning to the few orthodoxies present at the scene to let them know the Black Heaven sect's determination. They would protect Chu Kuangren no matter what. They could let the younger generation settle their own matters. However, if they were to bully the weak, the Black Heaven sect would not let them off easily, even if it meant sacrificing the entire orthodoxy. As expected, the honorables from the few orthodoxies present had a strange look in their eyes. Chu Kuangren was too amazing. Once he matured, he would definitely be extremely terrifying. They indeed had the thought of killing him before he matured. However, the seventh forefather's actions had made many of them give up on that idea. A war between orthodoxies was no laughing matter. Let's go! Even though he had lost an arm, Honorable Lei Hua did not have the intention to risk his life. He grabbed his severed arm and left the scene. Risking his life? What could he use to fight against an Honorable Supreme? Kuangren, are you all right? Elder Ruyan hurriedly went forward and asked. Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others were secretly jealous. All right, all they care about is their elder senior brother. I'm fine. I'm sorry to have made you worry, Elder. Chu Kuangren smiled faintly. Although he did not cause any trouble, he was still quite humble and gentle towards those who were close to him. The more the orthodoxy's cultivators looked at him, the more they felt that he was a dragon among men. At the same time, they could not help but sigh. Why is such a talented person not from our orthodoxy? What a pity, what a pity. Elder senior brother of the Black Heaven sect, we have something to ask you. At that moment an honorable spoke. Senior, please speak. Are there any sages in the secret realm? Were you the one who killed them? The crowd stared at Chu Kuangren, waiting for his answer. Yes. Chu Kuangren nodded slightly. Although the crowd already knew the answer, they could not help but be shocked when they heard Chu Kuangren admit it himself. What the hell is going on? Can you tell us in detail? They did not believe that Chu Kuangren could kill a sage. There must be some hidden story behind this. Sure. There was nothing to hide. He told them about how the Black Light Sage was sealed, how he kept the Black Death Beast, and how he fed on sky prides. When he mentioned that he killed the Black Light Sage, he only mentioned that he was lucky enough to break through to the Paradise Realm, and that he succeeded with the help of the Luminous Moon Sage's remnant spirit. He did not mention Princess Linglong at all. Chapter 69. I can't believe there's such a secret in this secret realm. Indeed, it's surprising. The Black Light Sage is truly vicious. How dare he feed on the sky prides? He deserves to be imprisoned by the Luminous Moon Sage for 10,000 years. The sage orthodoxies were furious after they heard that. At the same time, they could understand how Chu Kuangren could kill a sage. He was originally a broken sage, and he had the help of the luminous moon sage. Although it was still shocking, the crowd accepted the fact. Are there any of you who are dissatisfied? If it weren't for Kuangren, your sky prides would have become his food by now. Elder Ruyan glanced at the crowd and said coldly. Everyone looked at each other in dismay, and they were speechless. Junior Chu is too talented. I have nothing to say. Sigh, it's all fate. What else could they say? Although most of the treasures in the secret realm had fallen into Chu Kuangren's hands, he had also killed the Black Light Sage and saved the Sky Prides. Besides, he had entered the secret realm with his own abilities and obtained the treasures. Even if they were dissatisfied, they could not change the fact. That's it? Elder Ruyan frowned. We don't plan to pursue this matter anymore. Elder Ruyan, is there anything else you're dissatisfied with? One of the honorables asked. Elder Ruyan sneered. There's nothing to pursue in the first place, but Kuangren did save the Sky Prides in the secret realm. Aren't you guys going to thank him for his great kindness? The crowd looked at each other. You've already taken half of the treasures in the luminous moon's secret realm, and now you're targeting us? Fang Tian, Yuan Hong, and the other Sky Prides were dumbfounded. What's going on? Chu Kuangren had crushed them so badly in the secret realm. Not only could they not pursue the matter, but they had to thank him instead? Is there anything more ridiculous than this in this world? What's wrong? Is this how you sage orthodoxies do things? If word of this gets out, you'll become a laughingstock. The seventh forefather's voice rang out from the void. The honorables' expressions changed. Since the honorables had spoken, if they did not do something, they would not be able to leave this place so easily. One of the Thunder Temple's honorables walked up to Chu Kuangren and put his palms together with a smile on his face. Almsgiver Chu, thank you for your generosity and kindness in saving the Sky Prides of my temple. He bowed and said with a smile, if you have the time to come to Lei Yin Temple in the future, I will definitely welcome you. You're too kind, Master. Chu Kuangren smiled. Since the Thunder Temple had taken the lead, the rest of the honorables could not hold themselves back anymore. One by one, they went up to Chu Kuangren to personally thank him. Thank you, little friend Chu. My 5 Elements sect will always be open to you. You are welcome to come anytime. The same goes for the Dharma sect. The group of honorables had no choice but to swallow their pride and thank Chu Kuangren. Some of them did so willingly, while others were dissatisfied. It was especially so for Supremacy Yi Shui from the White Lotus School and the Yuxia tribe. Chu Kuangren had severed the arm of the School of White Lotus's bachelor sage and severely injured the spirit blood child. Now, they still had to thank the culprit? It would be strange if they were willing to do so. The hundreds of thousands of cultivators in the northern seas were silent. They were dumbfounded as they watched the honorables and honorables bowing to a young junior. The scene was too magical for them. Can we leave now? One of the honorables said. He was not asking Elder Ruyan, but the seventh forefather. Let's go, the seventh forefather said. After all, they were all sage orthodoxies, so it would not be good to push them too hard. The group of orthodoxies and sky prides came with high expectations, but they returned in disappointment. The only one who returned with a full load was the Black Heaven sect. After leaving the northern seas, the people of the Black Heaven sect found a secluded place to settle down for the time being. Everyone gathered together, and Elder Ruyan asked about Chu Kuangren's experiences in the outside world. Chu Kuangren did not hide anything and told her everything. Finally, the seventh forefather appeared. Elder Ruyan was stunned to see the seventh forefather return to his peak state. Seventh forefather. What happened? No wonder she felt that the seventh forefather's voice had become younger. It was not an illusion. It was real. Ha! I have to thank this young man. The seventh forefather then told her about the life extension pill he had consumed. Elder Ruyan was shocked at first, but then she was overjoyed. With this, the Black Heaven sect has gained another honorable supreme. This is great news. Kuangren, you're our Black Heaven sect's lucky star. Chu Kuangren smiled. After chatting for a long time, Elder Ruyan decided to bring Nangong Huang, Morong Xian, and the others back to the Black Heaven sect. Before leaving, Chu Kuangren passed most of the treasures he had obtained from the Yuan Ling's treasury and the Luminous Moon's secret realm to Elder Ruyan for her to bring back. These were not of much use to him. This included the body of the Luminous Moon Sage. Elder Ruyan, I have a presumptuous request. The Luminous Moon Sage fought alongside me to kill the Black Light Sage, so he can be considered a comrade. His body contains Taoist rhymes and sage qi that we can use, but please do not destroy his body, Chu Kuangren said seriously. We respect your request. Don't worry, we'll take good care of this sage's body, Elder Ruyan said. All right, Master, where are we going next? Lan Yu asked. We're going back to the capital city, of course. The marriage by combat is not over yet. Li Xingchen answered before Chu Kuangren could speak. The marriage by combat. Thinking of this, Chu Kuangren could not help but think of Princess Linglong. What an ill-fated relationship. To be honest, if he had not slept with Princess Linglong, it would not have mattered to him whether she chose to marry or not. But now he felt a little uncomfortable. Sigh, is this a man's possessiveness? Chu Kuangren lamented. Let's go back to the capital city first, Chu Kuangren said. It was not a good idea to keep this matter in his heart, so he needed an explanation. Royal Azure Dynasty, capital city. After a few days, the Sky Prides who went to the Luminous Moon's secret realm had also returned to the capital city, wanting to continue participating in the marriage by combat. Capital city inside a restaurant. The Sky Prides from various orthodoxies gathered together and were discussing their gains from the secret realm. In the end, they realized that only a few of them had gained anything. It's all that Chu Kuangren's fault. He's too despicable. Most of the treasures in the secret realm were taken by him. One of the Sky Prides said unhappily. At the mention of Chu Kuangren, the crowd suddenly fell silent. Chu Kuangren's name was like a huge mountain pressing on their chests, making it hard for them to breathe. It was too difficult. It was too difficult to live in the same era as someone like him. This person is indeed a peerless talent, Fang Tian from the Five Ways sect said emotionally. Although he was unwilling, no one could deny that Chu Kuangren's excellence was obvious to all. It's true that he's outstanding, but are we going to let him continue to surpass us? Jiang Valley's Lin Batian said. All right, let's not talk about this anymore. You're tuning in to the Legend of the Vagabond YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.